Don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother. Don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I sat down with Big Brother and the national ID. Don't want a chip in my wallet, chip in my car. And if I want to travel, it's nobody's business how far. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I said shame on Big Brother, always tracking and tracing me. Don't want a chip in my mother, chip in my wife, a chip in my babies. Stay out of our life. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother. No more slavery. Play it for me, baby.
This country starts early. It works hard. It stays focused. It keeps moving. It stands ready. And it carries the weight. Strong coffee for a strong nation.
This is all you ever hear about in this country is our differences. It's all they ever talk about. Politicians and the media always pushing the things that separate us, things that make us different. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing. Fairly simple thing happens to work. Anything that's different about us, you know that's what they're pushing at you. Racial differences, religious, ethnic, national backgrounds, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything they can do to keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
Why do you think politics feels more like a team sport than democracy?
Because that's exactly what it became. George Washington warned people about this a long time ago. He called it the spirit of party, and he said once political parties took hold, they'd start serving themselves instead of the public. And that's exactly what happened. Loyalty goes to the machine, not the country. They protect the brand, protect the tribe, protect the donors, protect the power, and the public gets whatever's left after the fundraising and the damage control. That's the bargain now. You cheer for your colors, they keep the scoreboard lit, and everybody acts like the game's what matters. Washington understood that once parties get strong enough, they stop asking what's good for the people and start asking what's good for the party. And once that happens, democracy turns into maintenance. Maintain the power, maintain the loyalty, maintain the illusion.
Keep it on, baby.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome everybody back to another Talking with Conspiracy, number 104. Holy hell. Just keep on keeping on, everybody. Sorry about the little late start. Technical difficulties. Life happens. You know how it is. It is what it is. Last minute reboot. Get it going. But we are here. We are alive and living in color. I was hoping maybe have a little co-host tonight, but it happens. Probably not tonight. So you just get me and my smiling face all night long. we have some fun stuff to talk about. We got some sideways stuff to talk about. And of course the fun videos at the end. Always want to have those. We're going to have the fun, feel-good videos to balance out the chaos in the world. Again, I appreciate y'all being here, trying to make sure everything is working, doing what it's supposed to do, because you never know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But as always, I appreciate y'all being here. So we got some fun stuff tonight. It's not in the title, but we will be talking about the possible alien abduction during the soccer match tonight. Maybe we should be watching FIFA tonight to see if an alien ship comes down and abducts everybody. Oh no, that's what they're saying could happen tonight. I guess anything is possible. Plus the chaos in political world with Trump and the voting to pull the troops out of the Iran situation, Iran war, however you want to say it, how you want to take it. We will discuss that tonight, what the ramifications of that. And I wonder, for the ones who voted for that, it was a bipartisan thing. I wonder, for the ones that voted for that, you know, the ones that are sponsored by AIPAC, what AIPAC thinks of them voting for that. I don't know. Keep hearing a possible false flag to bring us in deep. What's up, Swedes? Appreciate the repost. Appreciate you being here and sharing the links and doing all the great things you do for us and everybody. Yeah, so to get started, let's start funner stuff. Let's start let me save this video quick. There's a fun video right there as soon as I pop it up over here. What's up, Max Al? Appreciate you being here. Let's start this off here. Layout. Let's do it this way. There we go. Alright. I like that one better. Tell me if you like this one better. With a little round circle or the rectangle, whatever. I'll give me a little feedback on that. I'm not sure. I'll put it that way. We'll see how it goes. But the FAA, not the FAFO, has issued a official airspace restriction for tonight's Scotland versus Brazil game because of reports of unusual aerial activity in the region. Interesting. Of course, somebody dropped a UFO in there. And on top of that, you got a Brazilian psychic claims a UFO appeared above Hard Rock Stadium during the Brazil and Scotland game, which is tonight. She says players, officials, and fans could be abducted by aliens being on live TV. That'd be a hell of a show. So if it starts happening, y'all say something in the chat and I'll pull it up. Maybe we can get a live feed of it. So while I'm live, if this alien abduction starts going on, y'all let me know. We'll go live with the live abduction, which would be insane. Absolutely insane. I don't know. I know they were playing earlier. I guess this game's over with, so I guess no alien induction tonight. I was thinking that I had already played whatever. Brazil beat Scotland 3-0. So there goes that right there. They don't want me, Jen. They don't want to abduct me. Yeah, I was running a little late. They had my damn box didn't want to talk to the computer. All of a sudden, just on its own, just said, computer's like, it does not recognize this device. I'm like, you a-hole. You were just working. Everything's updated. Everything's nice. Everything's up. Whatever. It happens. She backed out. I hadn't seen that when Matt South said she backed out of the statement. So maybe because she made that statement and people knew, made the abduction not happen. Well, since we didn't get a daily alien abduction, we just have to watch this one. What was the one? Oh, here it is. This is the one. Sorry, that was the one that actually was from a movie. A movie in 2021 predicted the same thing happened on a Scotland versus Brazil game. And I thought this is the one, the AI generated movie I was trying to watch. Show y'all. But today is the 309th anniversary of the Freemasonry being found, so gotta do something special for the Freemasons' birthday.
Brasil segue no ataque. Espera. O que é isso? Tem alguma coisa sobre o estádio? Meu Deus! Os jogadores pararam! Eles estão apontando para riba! Não, isso não pode ser real! É o Neymar! Estão levando o Neymar! Eu não acredito no que estão vendo! Brasil segue no ataque.
So we didn't get to see it. That's how that happened there, I guess. What could have happened tonight, but didn't. Doggone it. We didn't get to see alien abduction. So sad. I did see this right here. Synthetic plasma beings are real according to NASA multi-institution report. Recent statements on plasma-based industry from David Fred. Where the hell? Somebody must be talking about it. David Grush, bolstered by a multi-institute report that observes these plasma workings in groups, even showing predatory behavior. Well, Jay Anderson. We actually got a few videos and stuff on here today.
I came across a fascinating paper that was published in the Journal of Physics on the subject of extraterrestrials, living plasma, and UFO phenomena. These plasmas have been filmed accelerating, slowing down, stopping, congregating, and even engaging in what they believe to be hunter or predatory-like behavior. Plasmas up to 1 kilometer in size, behaving similarly to multicellular organisms. I haven't seen anyone discussing this multinational, multi-institute, multi-scientist, peer-reviewed, and prestigiously published research paper into something so exotic and, quite frankly, paranormal as this. I came across a fascinating...
Plasma is just reacting. It's interesting. Yeah, 2026 wasn't weird enough already. I'm still shooting for July 4th. Alien disclosure, alien appearance, something. Still shooting for 4th of July. This is part of Oliver Tree's unreleased Antarctica documentary that was leaked online. There are claims he spent 300 days there investigating UAPs and alleged alien bases. The private screen surfaced 2 weeks before the fatal crash. The film was never officially released, but speculation surrounding his death is, of course, going wild.
So this is one of the things I came here to research, which is the alien bases.
We saw UAP.
UAPs, we've seen UFOs, we've seen a wider range of things. We've seen ones that were oblongata, very long, more like a missile. We've seen ones that are more circular, the traditional standard kind of boring textbook stuff. We've seen a wide array of ones. Those are rare.
I'm always watching.
They're just coming out of underwater.
Oh yeah, they work their way down, they finally make a hole. The way they go, that water drains down, and sometimes you see them shooting out the sides of these big chunks. I've been keeping my eyes pretty wide open, and I've been looking.
We saw one time, it was absolutely stunning.
I'm on a rifle team with the military.
Me too.
I'm pretty good at ranging, looking at things. And like I say, just look at stuff you know, and the length of it, give you a good judgment.
If I was to bet, that little one looks like an entry port right there. The one on the right, that small one, that's probably for a smaller ship. Get a close up of that. What I'd give to get a chance to go up in there. Are you fucking shitting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can count 5 different entry points to this alien base. This is the reason why I've stayed in Antarctica so long. Look at this fucking thing. I'm giving an interview about alien bases, and one shows up right behind me. This is a daily thing here. This is something that has kept me in Antarctica because I want to know more. And without the proper military support, I can't go deeper into this because this is NATO territory. It's been closed off. But a guy can wonder and a guy can watch from a distance and document. We've got multiple cameras here so that we can try to get this footage and upload this to the internet where everyone can witness this for free. We don't have to hide this. I'm so sick of the government hiding what's really going on here in Antarctica. This is what's going on. Alien bases that go underwater, where you have orbs, you have UFOs, you have UAPs, you have so many different types of vehicles, but this is what keeps me. And as much as I love it, I feel like maybe I've hit a threshold. Maybe at some point I can come back and work closer with more scientists. I could potentially work with the U.S. government if they will allow me to be a lead researcher so that we can figure out what's really going on here.
There's a disconnect. That's the problem.
Disconcerting, yeah.
Yeah. He thinks the world is going like this. He's just so off base. So, we're going to bring him home. Yeah. We're going to get him some help.
I think a lot of people are scared and they come at it from a fear angle. But for me, I come from an open heart and open arms. And I welcome the aliens in. And that's why I've had so many interactions with UFO ships. That's why I've seen them time after time. Because I know I have an open mindedness, but an open heart. And I know that aliens can pick up on that. Of course, there's also the walls that surround it, the flat earth theory and all that. I'm not going to get into that. But yes, we did find the wall. So this is the perimeter of Antarctica.
I see another video with Oliver Tree talking about the how much money he lost being embezzled and stuff like that. Got Ponzi scheme. Crazy. And then crazy crash. And then, of course, James Franco's got to get involved in the alien stuff. Everybody's got to get involved in the alien stuff.
Okay. I think a lot of people put news on here now, and that's what this is. This isn't news, man. You're doing a bit. I'm not doing a bit. Okay? Maybe you guys, use it for one thing. I'm using it for something.
Like a character, like when you play Tommy, you're just like stuck in this character now, this alien guy. The alien
I'm not a character. I'm James. You're James. This is James in my house. These are my friends.
What's the problem then?
How's the sobriety? Solid.
Smoking a little weed again? No? James?
All right. Look, everyone thinks I'm a stoner. Pineapple Express. Got it. Okay. I haven't smoked weed since high school. Okay. I'm good. I'm good.
Warning a lot of people, man, over these videos. They just don't know where your head's at, man.
Did you guys see the hearings? You see the hearings? The real dudes, the military dudes saying, I saw a flying object.
Was it on Reddit? Some forum?
No, it was the Senate. It was on New York Times. It was CNN. Real. That's what this is.
So what are you, the alien guy now? Is that your whole thing?
I didn't choose this. He chose me. It chose me. I didn't choose this.
Has there just not been enough attention? I mean, come on, bro.
I don't want attention. I don't want attention. You did. I don't. Not for me. I've tasted that. I've tasted that.
Sit down.
I've tasted the spotlight. I don't want that. It's not for me. I'm sacrificing myself. I'm using myself to get the message out there. This is not for me. I don't care about that. I know what it's like at the mountaintop. It's meaningless to me. That's meaningless to me.
James, are you in a psychosis?
Yeah, I don't know. I play no James Franco. Guess he's trying to get involved in it.
Okay.
I did see this one here today, too.
We just came across this noise that we heard. We're going up this hill, and you can hear it in the background. I'm going to show you. And I have to do this live. I had to pick some platform to do it live on because nobody's going to believe me that it's real. It's crazy. It's a little freaking creepy. Hold on. It's creepy, huh? No. So there's this one. Noah seems unfazed by it. But then look, over here. You hear that noise? There's a mountain. Oh, stop, get up. Get your foot, you're gonna step on. No, back up. Back up.
I wonder if we can get knocked for the music.
There
or
is
sound from
another 100 of them out there. Can I zoom in? No, I can't zoom. Whoa, didn't mean to do that. Look, there's the moon. Whoa. Anyways, back to this. There's a bunch of them out there. But it's like this Lemurian beacon system. I have no idea. Insane. Back up, buddy. I don't want to step on them. As much as I think they're creepy, I still don't want to hurt them. Somebody put a lot of effort into this. Come Yeah. This is insane. I guess they're solar powered. This one actually makes sense. The other ones are just white noise. All right, well, we're getting out of here stat.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's weird. Like, what is the point? Like, what did she stumble on? Brother Willie, Miss Karen, Nostradamus. What's up? What's up? Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, no, that was. Yes, anything? Yeah, lots of lore about Mount Shasta. Yeah, it's one of them things. Could be. Who knows what it could be? Seen this earlier.
Professor, look, President Trump has you leading the charge now when it comes to advising the government on everything involving UFOs. So tell us what you're really hoping to accomplish and how do you build that panel?
Well, thanks for having me. Reality, I must say, is much better than Steven Spielberg's film, where people who want to find the truth get their car crashed against a moving train. My car is intact. The government wants to cooperate. And I'm here to serve President Trump and the administration in figuring out these unusual objects, anomalous objects that the Pentagon and the intelligence agencies have difficulties explaining. And I should say that the US government is responsible for some previous discoveries of the cosmos. You know, back in 1967, there were gamma ray detectors that were monitoring nuclear explosions above the atmosphere to make sure the Soviets are not cheating. And they discovered gamma ray bursts, the birth sites of black holes in the universe. That's a major discovery. Also, more recently, US government satellites that were monitoring ballistic missile launches noticed fireballs from impacts of interstellar objects, interstellar meteors. So that's another major discovery. Let's hope that perhaps they have some record of objects that may have been manufactured by technological civilizations other than ours. And what we are here for is to help the government figure out if that's the case. Because if it's not the case, if these are human-made, then they might be produced by adversarial nations, and we have to help as citizens of the United States, help the Pentagon figure them out so that there will not be holes in the defense of strategic assets.
Dr. Loeb, your passion for this is unmatched, and I love it. What do you make of the president's big push for transparency with America's UFO files here, since there are so many conspiracy theories about government cover-ups over the years?
Well, my point is we should keep our eyes on the orbs, not on the audience. It's not about what is being said in social media. There are lots of crackpots and a lot of people with conspiracy theories. That's completely irrelevant. When we see objects that the Pentagon is unable to identify, it's a serious matter, because if adversarial nations produce those for espionage, we need to figure these out. And therefore, there needs to be more research, better data. Rather than us obsessing with past reports that are incomplete, we should now build better sensors to protect the United States.
Now, there's some people that believe if the government even did have the proof, they would not tell us. Can you promise us if you find the proof that there are aliens out there, you'll tell us that you found them?
Definitely.
No, do we believe them? Of course, the government's going to tell us the truth. It's the government. Of course, they're going to. Yeah, it just. I'm so suspicious. All of this is coming out one time. all at one time. Just get my antenna on. That don't make sense. It don't make sense.
Professor, look.
Anyway, there is no God. You were all created by aliens, and you were told a bunch of lies about it. Good luck. Keep going to work. Markets up. Straight's open. Markets up.
It's not even that there is no God. It's
Well,
that the
right.
God story that you've been told is it's formulated in a way for your tribal primate brain to accept and understand.
Right.
And that there's probably a true story to all of it. If you go back far enough, and if you got the actual events that they were trying to lay out, there's too much of stuff that's in the Bible that like is historically verifiable.
Totally. But do you think they didn't tell people that because they thought it would be too disruptive?
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that, when you talk about the Bible, right, you're talking about a series of stories.
Sure.
Right? Especially when you get to the Old Testament. It's a series of stories. And some of these stories aren't in the Bible that were a part of the religious canon of the day. And one of them is the Book of Enoch. So Anna Paulina Luna told me about, she's like, you really have to read that. And I was like, okay. Like, she was so adamant about it. I'm like, okay,
Right.
let me read it. So I listened to it on tape in the sauna, which is the perfect way to do it. I'm listening to audiobook. It's 195 degrees.
Okay.
I'm sweating my balls off. I'm dying in there. And I'm listening to this fucking crazy account that is in the same Dead Sea Scrolls as they found the Book of Isaiah.
Totally.
The same collection of these religious texts. And it's all about how the Watchers came down and mated with the daughters of man and chose them as wives, and then created this race of beings called the Nephilim, which were giants that ruled the earth. Like, this is in the Bible. They talk about the Nephilim in the Bible.
In the Bible,
they talk about Enoch. Like, he's referenced in the Bible.
Right.
But the Book of Enoch, the stories that are in the Book of Enoch, are fucking bananas. Like, completely bananas. And the only reason why it's not in the Bible, a bunch of rabbis decided that it didn't align with the Torah, or the Talmud. I forget which one. But they decided like this contradicts some of the stories that are in other religious texts. So we're going to keep that one out.
Interesting.
Because it was a collection of these things that's all together.
Who are these rabbis?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I mean, who are all these people that wrote these things down? I have this bit where I read out of the Book of Ezekiel. And there's like the hilarious parts of the Book of Ezekiel. And then there's also parts that sound like they're talking about a UFO, like these profound experiences. And then other things where they're talking about a prostitute. It's very funny.
Right.
But this whole thing is a bunch of people's interpretations of stories written down, passed down generation to generation, written largely intact once it was an original piece. So like they found the Book of Isaiah in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it's identical to the Book of Isaiah that is 1,000 years newer. So that was older than the Book of Isaiah that they had by 1,000 years, the oldest one they ever found, and it was verbatim.
Right.
So once they got these stories down, they wrote them over and over and over again. And like priests would learn to do that, and monks would learn to do that with their religious texts. They would rewrite things over and over again as part of the practice.
And someone knows in some subterranean part of the government, they know something or many things that they're not going to tell people because it would be disturbing or disruptive.
This was the story about Jimmy Carter. Now, the story about Jimmy Carter was Jimmy Carter, I believe in 1969, he had some sort of a very strange UFO experience that was very real to him. Very bizarre, saw something.
Yeah.
And part of his thing was once he gets into office, he wants to tell people. The story is that he was briefed. They explained to him something about the reality of the UFO experience, like what it really is. And he was crying, that he wept openly. So what could that mean? Like, what would that mean?
Well, he was kind of
guy.
he was, yeah,
kind of a pussy. Is that what
he was a
bitch.
And this Habitat for Humanity, I never understood. I thought it was.
I think he's a genuinely good person.
Of course he was. He built houses
became
for
a president.
people. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Never enriched himself.
But he was also, if you read books about him, he was kind of an operator too. He was kind of he was into the peanut stuff, right? He was a peanut farmer or something. Yeah. You know, he was, nobody gets to be he was sweetest.
Like one of the sweetest of all the presidents.
He was still the president. But so who is doing this explain? It's just the Men in Black people from the the depths of
Who knows what
Raven
they're
Rock
telling
or
them the
Cheyenne military or wherever
Listen,
the hell they are?
What they could be doing is covering up years of lying to Congress and misappropriation of funds for all these black ops programs.
Oh, that's interesting, Miss Karen. I'll talk about Jimmy Carter. I seen a thing talking about Jimmy Carter the other day. It was like the last good president we had that, was Jimmy Carter. He did try to do a lot of good things, and to the end. Man, he even got out there and voted. 2024. I'm sorry. God rest his soul. They drug that poor man out there. He's here. That was terrible. That was terrible. I guess that's all I have there right now. Yeah, I just I'm too late in the day for the alien abduction for the
Anyway,
games. Get out of here. Shut them up. Guess I'm too late on that. Yeah, it's a good thing. We need to be able to help people get, they need homes. Everybody needs helping hand sometimes. The ones that take advantage of the situation and take advantage of people are the ones that don't need it, but there's a lot of people that really good do. Okay, I was hoping, did I read wrong? Alright. Now we're talking about switching gears. Talking about putting data centers in oceans. They're still working on it. But having the waves actually, which, makes kind of sense in a way. You got so much ocean. If you're going to do it, have the water right there to cool it. I wonder what kind of effect it would be. 80% of the oceans haven't even been mapped yet, so they could put a whole bunch of data sensors in the unmapped area. I guess they could be connected with satellites or whatever. Interesting tech, and of course it's backed by Peter Thiel, and he only wants good things for us, of course. Absolute only wants good things. I seen this too, was kind of interesting. Music getting louder and louder. It's an ultra-fast MRI-style scanner. It uses water and sound waves instead of radiation or magnets. Scans take about 60 seconds. Hey, no more lead vests. I think that'd be very interesting. What's up, James? What's up, Cubs Future? If it works right, hell, I think it's a great. I would be a great thing. I wonder, the cost to the other technology of that one would be more. What they would actually start using them and stuff. But yeah, that's no radiation, no magnets. Yeah, we're ripping piercings out and getting radiated, I seen this as kind of cool. This is just random as hell, simple as hell. But check out this little.
Best invention in 2026 right here. You can open your drink with it, ladies, so you don't have to worry about breaking your nails. And then when you're not drinking it, you just latch it in, slide it around like this, and that's going to keep all the bugs and stuff out of your drink when you're sitting out by the pool or down by the beach. So get this in a pack of assorted colors. I'm going to put you a link right over here above my name. Best in
Interesting little gadget. I bet he sells the hell out of them things. Leave that on the screen for a little bit. I hate I wasn't able to listen in on Algo last night. I gave him a repost, but I had to get to bed. I was tired and had to get up this morning and have a sideways day, but that's all right. Still here, still kicking. That's all that matters.
Here we go.
That's pretty neat. Hitting the timing and the spacing.
Here we go.
All together. See, it says it on there, I think. I bet that says it on there. Up on top. What tone it is, so. For having the time. That's all right, Miss Karen. It wasn't bad. Did the scrapping today, and it didn't go as well as we hoped for. Had little troubles, but that's all right. I made it home, made it safe. Got to eat some good food for lunch, so good. I'm here and talking with y'all, wonderful people. I thought that was pretty neat. Pretty damn neat. I just thought about something. Let me see something. I guess not. I thought I put, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be this quick, but we'll see what. Yeah, good food is always a plus. Had fried chicken, lima beans, and mashed potatoes and gravy. That was a good lunch. I got a storm coming up. I hear thunder or something going on. Let's see what the weather is real quick, y'all. A random moment of what in the world. Well, there's some thunder in the distance. Supposed to be here probably about midnight, so I'll be good. I'll be all right.
Really anticipate. I mean, I'm 78 years old.
Yes.
And I'm in good shape, but in 6 years we'll reach longevity escape velocity.
Oh, so it is 6 years. So explain to people what that means.
So 2032. So
2032.
Right now you go through a year.
Yeah.
And use up a year of your longevity.
Yes.
However, we're coming up with new cures, new treatments, and you actually get, if you're diligent, which I'm sure you are, and most of the listeners here are, but not everybody is, but if you're diligent, you get back, well, last year I was saying about 4 months. Let's say it's probably about 5 months. So you're getting back 5 months, so you lose about 7 months.
Out of a year. So you're saying longevity velocity, escape velocity is when we get to the point where every year you get a year back.
You get back a full year.
And the people like David Sinclair, Dr. Sinclair has been working on this. He's got, as you know, he's got mice being able to see again after they've lost the nerves in their eyes. He's doing the first tests on humans now.
There's lots of research.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is we're going to be able to find cures by basically saying what the problems is, and the computer will actually generate the possibilities. It'll generate millions of possibilities and go through them all.
Test them.
So we're beginning to be able to do that. And then you can actually do human trials,
yes,
but using simulated humans.
Yeah.
So that's coming. That'll happen by 2030. So by 2032, we'll be able to go through all the different possibilities. So you get back at least a year. As you go past 2032, you'll actually get back more than a year. But you won't die of aging at that point. It doesn't mean you can have an accident tomorrow.
Sure.
Although we're also dealing with accidents. For example, we lose 40,000 people who die in car accidents right now from human driving. If you look at Waymo, the number of people who have passed away using Waymo, and the usage is going like this, is zero.
Yeah.
So we're going to do away with accidents largely, but anyway, the future is very good for our health.
So part of you always said is you take care of yourself to get to this point, and then there'll be tools and technology to keep you alive for a very, very long time and healthy a very long time, and helping your memory too, because Alzheimer's obviously is rampant in the world today. But tell us about your numbers.
I have a pancreas.
Yes.
It's actually external. This
Really?
generates insulin, and then I measure glucose here.
Yes.
And it's
tied your phone?
Coordinated by my phone.
Yeah.
And it's actually like a real pancreas. And we can actually do that with a lot of our organs. So anyway, there's a lot of things happening.
Wow.
And so that's one of the things I try.
What do you all think?
Really anticipate. I mean,
Yeah. What do you all think? Do you think they're? I mean, I guess it would take to, if you're using the technology, if you're using their drugs and the other things they're doing, their speculation. I don't know. Be kind of nice, reverse aging. But I don't trust them. They're gonna mess with something or manipulate something that should not be manipulated. Absolutely. I'm gonna play with some of this. Yeah. Have it scaring. What's up, Merlin? Yeah. And yeah, do not trust them. I don't trust them. Yeah, the Canada, it is organ harvesting with all the MAID programs. They're doing a lot of that stuff over here in the United States. We're not helping people pass away, but you know, if they do, they are trying to take every damn thing they can. They'll rip them apart. Sadly.
When I'm creating a project like the Odyssey trailer, I think the biggest takeaway is that I'm really treating Grok like a camera. I'm treating Grok like a raw footage generating machine, which is what it really excels at. I usually start with a rough concept. You know, that could be a shot list, a style template, and this will help keep the visual style consistent throughout the entire piece. Once you've generated your start frames and they're storyboard worthy, then you can start generating your video clips from those start frames. And many times, if you just click the generate video button, Grok will understand the context of that start frame. If you nail all these things with your start frames, then the video model has a smaller job. And now you're just prompting the specific things that you want to happen in that video clip. For example, the speech shot, you know, you do have to type in what you want your character to say, and adding a description of the emotion and the pauses and the beats that you want the character to hit really helps. So Grok is the camera, and you have to prompt it like a camera. Think about the main takeaways of what you want this video clip to do. What is the subject doing? What is the camera doing? What needs to stay consistent throughout the shot? And much like real filmmaking, take one is not always going to be the best take. You can't expect things to work perfectly the first time. You might need to generate a clip a few times to get that perfect take. It's a creative, collaborative process with Grok Imagine as your camera. But also remember that not every shot is going to be final. That's a huge part of editing, is using the moments that work and leaving everything else in the trash bin, to be honest. And so when you're trying to tell a story, it's all about how you're cutting all those clips together to get your audience to feel something. Once you've finally gotten all of your video clips, I batch download them from the Grok Imagine page and bring them into my editing software. And that's where the film starts coming together for me. The pacing, the music, all that is happening at the edit stage. And that really is the workflow. There is still a human in the mix here. You still do have to think through the story you want to tell, and then use the tools like Grok Imagine to create the visuals you want for your story.
It's pretty neat. The technology be able to, my problem is like putting that stuff together, like I wanted this, and that long being very descriptive. It's an important part. Sometimes I am very good at that when I'm making so much stuff. Another random video. It's kind of a long video, but it's kind of messed up because I'm messing with kids. I don't know about messing with kids.
What's a D-rate kid? What does that mean? And she goes, oh, honey, I make $28,000 a month off foster care. You want to make sure they fail in school. If they fail in school and you can get them on medication, your rate goes up. Every time they don't pass a grade, your rate goes up because they're a more difficult kid. How many kids do you have? She said 86.
It's fucking horrific. People are fostering kids just for the money.
This is a demonic situation that exists because the church closed her doors. Here's how bad it can get in foster care just from an educational perspective. When I was adopting my boys, I was invited to speak at the National Foster Parents Association. It's this great It's a great organization. I love it. It's basically like, let's get a bunch of foster parents together, give them support, give them ongoing classes, and like be each other's support system. Because, you know, I have military in my family. I'm not a military wife, but I always say, like, if you're a military spouse, I would hope you have other friends who are military spouses, because only they can relate to you. Foster care is the same way. These kids have a lot of problems. They are not bad kids. They have experienced severe trauma. So other people who are normal parents who have biological children who know their entire medical history and didn't do drugs while they were pregnant or drink alcohol while they were pregnant, like, their parenting advice for you as a foster parent is like, that is so nice that you think that will work for this kid. It will not. So you have to know other foster parents if you're going to like survive this game, because it is so jacked. So I'm at the National Foster Parents Association. I'm like speaking, you know, they were like, could you come speak? And I was like, sure, I guess. And then they're like, hey, you have however many hours before we need you to come speak again. So here's our itinerary. You can basically, like, here's your little badge. You can go into any class that you want to learn anything else you want to, like, you're curious, a subject. Like, one time I went, there was like an FBI profiler and it was really cool. And they talk about like all these kind of things about how they do interviews. And as an actress, I'm like, I want to learn everything about that. Like, tell me about how you know if this person's a psychopath. That's so fascinating to me. So they have really cool like courses that you can take. Well, I'm getting ready to adopt my son, Caden. And I was like, oh my gosh, they have a class on adoption and the adoption assistance program. I had no idea that when you adopted out of foster care, you still get health insurance for that child, you still get therapy for that child, and you get your monthly stipend for that child. Okay? I was like, oh, I always figured that people didn't adopt the child out of foster care because they couldn't afford to. That was kind of always my myth and misconception. I didn't know. So when I learned about there's an adoption assistance program, I was like, oh, cool. Like, well, teach me how to navigate that red tape, because foster care is like, I don't know, I'm biased, but I would wager it might be the most bureaucratic red tape system in the entire United States. So I'm like, cool, I want to go to that class. People assume that you would foster for the money. Once I became a foster parent, I was like, what money? Like, what are you talking about? This monthly stipend like doesn't cover the formula and diapers. Like, what are you talking about? There's no money in foster care. Like, you have 2 kids. Kids are expensive. I don't care if you don't even spoil them. Like, you feed them, you buy them clothes, you do anything kind of nice for them. It's a lot of money. Like, kids are expensive. So I was always like, what money are people talking about? So I go to this adoption assistant program. I'm like, wow, I had no idea that like you got all these services. Like, how do I sign up? I had no idea they still come with insurance. Like, this is fantastic. So I finished the class and I'm like, I want to meet every parent in this class. This is so cool. Like, I'm going to meet my new tribe of people that are adopting kids out of foster care. These people are awesome. I meet a couple new people. And then I meet this one woman and she's like, oh yeah, what you want to do is you want to get a D-rate kid. And I was like,
what?
That's what I said. I was like, what's a D-rate kid? What does that mean? And she goes, oh, honey, I make $28,000 a month off foster care. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, because I have this many kids. And she goes, here's the thing. You want to get a D-rate kid. I was like, what is a D-rate kid? She goes, okay, here's how it works. You want to make sure they fail in school. If they fail in school and you can get them on medication, your rate goes up. Every time they don't pass a grade, your rate goes up because they're a more difficult kid. Every time they need a medication, your rate goes up.
Holy shit, dude.
And I was shocked. Like, I was like, oh my God, that's how bad people are making money out of foster care. And that's one of the reasons the statistics are so bad. Because again, I think the intentions were good. One of my kids, I love him so much, and he's a really sweet kid. But I'm finally to the point where I'm like, we got to get you medication. I've tried every therapy under the sun, and I love you, and I know that you know I love you, but like, I desperately need medication for you because I need your brain to slow down. Because when you make decisions that are not rash, because he's very reactive, if he slows down, he's not aggressive. Sweetest kid you've ever met. Everybody's favorite student. At home, it's a totally different situation because he's comfortable with us. Our rate will go up because now he needs medication. And he's really a good kid, but it's a lot to parent him. It's a lot harder than my other kids. And one of my other kids is adopted. I just say this to say that I think the intentions of increasing the rate was to incentivize good people to stick with it. But again, what it did is incentivize all the wrong people. People who are in it for the money instead of for the love of a child.
That's just making money off the government.
Yeah.
That's not even the real dark shit.
We haven't even gotten dark yet. I'm just saying.
I'm just, it's fucking horrific.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
People.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's absolutely getting people to, and I've known people to do that before, like, you know, have their child's like knees turning just a little bit or just a little bit, and you know, because they can get extra shit, they would turn around and put their kids with knee braces on, even though they didn't need them, and give them all kinds of shit because they got money for it. And you know, and it takes away from the people that need that kind of money and need help. And I can see that. I can see what they're saying. It's, you know, you could turn around and it would help, you know, offset costs and all that. But man, it would turn around and then you get money hungry. And all they care about is the dollar and not the kids. And I don't know. What's up, Jen? Appreciate you popping in here.
Hey, do you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
You do?
Yeah, there's a little background noise, but that's all right. Not bad.
Yeah, because I'm not using a microphone, so if it's too much, if it's, you know, difficult with the sound, let me know. Okay?
No, it's good. I think it's good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised about these. I mean, the studies into the foster care system is not surprising at all. I work in the court system every day for 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, and encounter it all the time. And you see these kids, you know, they come through, and we have a lady in the office. She worked children's division for a while, and many of the same kids she saw when she was working children's division, they pop up again in our court system. So we see them, you know, unless they can pull themselves up out of it, we see them for a good portion of their lives, and everyone around them too. And in particular, many of them were entirely raised in the care system. So it is a shame.
Absolutely, you know, they're not giving them the opportunity they really deserve, you know. They're already having a troubled life and have a troubled situation, and then turn around and then having somebody manipulate the system and expand and exuberate their troubles just to get dollars is, you know, on these poor kids who didn't ask to be put in this situation. You know, that's pretty jacked up. But, there's a lot of low level people, low life people that, you know, but, you know, to ruin these child's future, not care, just care about the dollar is just, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. And I mean, it's not just there. I mean, I even see it in the court system itself. You know, many people, they can like people that come out into the public again after they have trouble being, they have issues. They have a lot of trauma, and then they go through. They have addiction issues, and they get let back out, and they get let back out, and it's because they continue to make money off those people. If they're on monitoring, if they're on regular testing, all the while they're loose out in the public. I've literally seen violent offenders get released in another area. They're going to move to another area, and they'll have GPS monitoring for a while, and then after so many turns with their attorney, they're released out without the GPS because it's required by their work. And occasionally they'll run and they'll reoffend and they'll be picked up in another county, and then we'll have to bring them back to our county through writ to have them testify in their own cases as they're still ongoing. The whole judicial system is not corrupt, but incredibly, it's like this very low level thing that's running everything. You know what I mean? It's just this very basic level across the board it's on the whims of judges, and it's just wild.
Absolutely. That's cool, Miss Karen. That her brother and his wife adopted 3 kids out of foster care, and that's amazing, and that's great, because these kids need a chance. I know people that do that. I know one couple, it was sadly it was, they adopted 2 Russian girls, and one of them they think actually because of the way they do over there in Russia, and for they keep them small and keep them they give them to do with gymnastics and stuff like that. They'll actually keep them small, and they'll give them all kinds of different drugs and stuff like that. And so later on, they thought she actually was older than she thought, and they actually had to look, we can't deal no more. They kept the one daughter, but the other one was just very violent and threatened to kill them and all kinds of stuff. And they really thought that she might have actually been an adult, plagiarized as a girl or something. It was a wild situation, but I take my hat off to the ones that open their hearts and to foster kids or step kids or anything else.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's really just coming down to, there are people who go into the foster care system and they do foster care, they host, and they'll do it for 20 years, and it's on that last, window of time or right off the bat sometimes, but a lot of times they've been doing it for so long and they become complacent, and I don't know. I just think that it's funded by tax dollars most of the time. For example, the court system is funded by tax dollars in local communities. And there's a concern about, and there should be, because many times it goes to, even just the law enforcement system is kind of messed up. You have law enforcement officers that are not properly trained, and they've just been on, doing it for so many years. The turnover rate is insane. I mean, it's crazy, and they will move them around. They may get in trouble for one offense in one county, but they'll move them to another county. And it just goes around and around like this. It's the strangest thing. And it's a thin blue line. So you have the thin blue line is basically that law enforcement is not all law enforcement, but some law enforcement officers understand the work because they've come from a background that can familiarize themselves with how these sort of things would operate. And it's the same within the legal field too. Many of the people kind of working in the lower levels that keep the whole machine running, they go to that kind of work because they feel like they can help people. But at the same time, it's, these are human whims. So I've seen the strangest things with it. And then you have this higher echelon leap to attorneys and judges who have known nothing but that. Sometimes generationally, their parents were attorneys, or their, their husbands were judges, now they're judges, especially in smaller communities like mine. So it's a very interesting cyclical situation that is trying to be sensitive to people, but then if the people only knew, like, just how sort of open-ended it is, and then when you look at our incarceration system and how crazy that is, many of these are basically just work camps. So you have different tiers of the prison system as well. I don't know, it's too long to talk about it, but I just thought it was, it's something a lot of people can kind of relate to. And I don't know, you see it in our society, how it plays out, how it affects society as a whole. And then the money that is made off of these people being addicted as they are, and the allowance that, of course, they're addicts, so there's a tolerance for them being a certain level of addict, so they continue to use and they continue to offend as well. It's a difficult societal situation that's been brought on.
Mm-hmm. It's like for certain addicts, they get them pins and stuff to help them, from overdosing, and for free. But they can't, they can't get insulin or something like that for, to help other people that, just got diabetes for free, but they can get, it's a weird system they got going on. And, like I said, some of the court stuff and, some of the small places, you got good old boy system, and sadly, like I ain't gonna dig deep into this situation, kind of gone national, but like we had something happen, local, and a 1-year-old got killed, and the cop that did it was actually had been fired from other places and got shifted around. And you see that happen a lot. If they turn around, and a friend of mine asked the question, is like, which is weird. It is weird. Like he did security and stuff like that. So a lot of times if you mess up in security, and like you get like one strike and then you can't do it. But like if you mess up here, as a police officer, well, they because they need them so bad, and like you said, the turnover is so great. I know certain cities over there paying really, really good right now because they have such a high turnover, and they have the turnover, so they'll hire anybody if you got experience, or it don't matter if you just have military experience, they'll hire you. They don't care to a point. They just need people in the cars, moving around. They need to hit the quotas and stuff like that. So it's and with governments and the way the world is, they're cutting budgets and cutting training and cutting all these kind of things. I think that's one of the reasons why we see more and more of these situations happen, because without the lack of funds and lack of time. And then certain people are just going to be certain people, sadly.
Yeah. And with the kids too. I mean, so many children just kind of, a great deal of the children who go missing, who run away, or they just kind of disappear, are in the foster care system. The whole thing needs to be kind of overhauled, and it goes way back. The foster care system, and the idea of a sort of social system to handle children born in these compromising situations. And you can go all the way back to Have you heard of the orphan trains?
Hmm. I've heard. I'm not studied into it, but I have heard some stories about it a little bit.
It was something like, yeah, it was something like a 250,000 children that were transported out of poverty-riddled areas on the East Coast and in the South, brought into the Midwest, and this is in the turn of the century, essentially. And they were carried over by trains, and they were sold off to farmers in the Midwest. And there was a whole sort of black market extended out from this of kids being, and it came to a point in some of the things I've read that, picking up kids that were just available, and they would, this whole selling kids and all of that, at least in that time period, and whole entire generations of people coming out of those regions that don't even know their origins because their great grandmother or father were, one of these orphans, essentially, who just kind of popped up during a time period of all these different economic upheavals at the turn of the century and the poverty in the United States. In those regions, they didn't have a way to handle it, and so they just kind of shuffled them around and sold them. And yeah, it's very eye-opening when you kind of look at how huge the system is. And it goes into all of those different ideas about kids being picked up in places like Haiti or any kind of stricken areas and transported without any documentation whatsoever into the United States and sort of just disappearing in these supposed charitable circumstances, and they show up into this world without any type of birth certificate, no identification, and it's like they're like a blank slate. Not only that they're children, but they literally just have a blank slate of information that can be laid upon them. I remember hearing about a case, I think it was in Arizona, where there were these kids that were, it's all over the place, but kids just being found that they don't exist. They literally just have no papers, no birth certificate, nothing.
Hmm. I mean, it's like
So
all
it's
the
just
ones
wild.
missing kids and stuff that, all the kids that, they found during the Biden administration also, and they found a whole bunch of kids, like tens of thousands of them.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And I was going to say that, and like that stuff's still going on to this day, sadly, there's, it's like people look into history and look at, oh, well, this is what happened then, this is what happened then, well, we admitted to Congress, and like we did away with slavery and all that. And that was here, And the sad thing is, there's still slavery going around the world, through Africa and through Asia. There's still, major child trafficking going on, all over the place, throughout here, throughout the United States, throughout the world. Actually, it's kind of, not to chuckle at this, I'm not chuckling at the thing, but it's just a nice little segue. I do have a great guest coming on the 8th. We'll be talking about some of this stuff. So it's looking forward to that. He, just like I said, on a random segue of it all. He's an attorney. He's a former U.S. State Department All right, Ricky, can you read today? No, he can't. All right. Former U.S. State Department diplomat, secret agent, special agent. I'm sorry. Attorney, trafficking investigator, and he's the founder of Epstein Isn't Dead. So he really is into the looking into the children and the trafficking and stuff like that. He's it's going to be a very, very interesting conversation on the 8th. So make sure y'all subscribe and hit the little bell.
Yeah, there were. So in my own town, a town of less than 10,000 people, there was a girl that went missing. She worked at the local grocery store. It was a young teenager. She was like 15 years old. And she went missing. And it was this big to-do. And the parents, she was being not foster cared, but it was extended family that did do foster care. So she was related, but the family itself had was also involved in fostering kids and all of this. And she disappeared, and everyone thought she'd just run away. She was missing for 5 months. And they found her, and she said that she had been talking to a boy online, and she went out after an argument with her mother, not her actual mother, but her house mom, and she went out to go meet this boy, and that she was picked up by another group, and that she was transported, across several counties, almost to the next state line, and just all of this. But she was trafficked, and she came back after 5 months of that. And that was there's a major highway that runs. So basically, this is a small town that has a major highway that connects multiple cities in the area that I live in. So there's a main strip that's a drive-through in this region and it's notorious for things like this. But she was trafficked out of a normal town of about 10,000 people in the southern Midwest, which is just crazy. And then there was another couple that was picked up in our county. They were, I wouldn't say a couple, but they were, it was a young woman, a young man, and they were coming from Florida down from New York. So they'd traveled from New York, Brooklyn, to Florida, to our county. They had been coming from the next neighboring city. They were found with $5,000 in cash and something like 20 different IDs, just identifications of all kinds. And they were trafficking in identity. And they were caught in our county. We're a really small community. And they stayed in our jail for a while. Eventually were bonded out by an attorney that came from New York. One of them was unable to speak English. They were transported back, allowed to leave, to go back to New York and do video court. And so, and essentially made a plea deal out with this. And one of them's still ongoing. But they were trafficking in identities. And there was nothing to tie them to anything. And one of the individuals was featured in several rap hip-hop videos we discovered and modeling campaigns, which was just bizarre.
That's crazy. Hollywood.
It is crazy.
Yeah, Hollywood and all that stuff. They're for sure they're terrible. And it's sad. I hate looking into it, and everything, and you wonder, man, because you get certain celebrities or certain actors or musicians that you really like, and you look back and you're like, I wonder how corrupt they are, what they did, to be able to do that, are they in on it too? It just, I asked all these questions and it just blows my mind about, because you hear this stuff, you hear about these videos like you're talking about, where videos where you see these missing children, but they pop up on commercials, they pop up on, music videos, and pop it on kind of stuff like that. And why are they here? But they're missing, quotation marks, I was wondering. I wonder like who all is super corrupt, who all is evil as hell.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to think about it too much though.
Well, see, like, I work with all the felonies in my county. My county is it's almost 40,000 people. It's a small county in the southern Midwest, near South, we'll just say that region. And I only deal with, I just clerk out felony cases. So it's all of the subpoenas, writs, felony informations, all the discovery for the attorneys and the defense and the prosecuting attorney's side in the prosecutor's office. And it is horrific and unbelievable the amount of forbiddable, just, I can't even explain. And I don't know if I would even wish it upon anyone. And this is all just around everyone all the time. And looking at my town that I live in, it's very quiet. We have one Walmart in the town I live in. And the unbelievable things that come through just in this town and then the surrounding areas in this county. And I see every single one of them. And what's even stranger than that is that I am the only felony clerk because the funding, local funding in the system is so slim. So the entire prosecutor's office for my county is 3 people and a prosecuting attorney for almost 40,000 people. It is crazy.
There's a lot. I have a friend that works there in Memphis, and a lot of the stuff that goes across her desk is like she just stays busy. Like there's no way, enough time in the day where and they just throw more. Excuse me, they just throw more and more stuff on her every day. Seems like, and Memphis is a pretty good sized city, but like most of the stuff that goes like across her desk, for her to do and all kind of like. She explained it to me before, but I won't do it justice. But it's crazy, and as big as a city, like Memphis is, they only got a couple people doing all like the stuff like you're talking about. And they wonder why it takes so long for any of this stuff to happen.
Yeah, you have, somebody violates their probation, somebody violates their bond. All that stuff has to be filed, typed up. You have to look over field reports for how they violated their bond. I'm saying it's underhandled entirely. And they just pluck from the populace. It's not necessarily any specialized training of any kind. I mean, I don't know how many times, just kind of impressed by the volume of depravity. How many times I've wanted to just do anything else. Do you know what I mean? But then you wonder, like, it's because they just pull from the general public. And everyone knows each other. See, I've just recently moved here about 4 years ago. So one of the big points of how I even got on here was because I didn't know anyone. But, you see the defendants just out in the general public all the time. And then, like, I've seen 2 different defendants out in the public who later, wound up dead. It's the craziest stuff. But basically what I'm getting at is that the criminal system in our country, not at a big scale, but your next door neighbors and your small towns and your normal towns, it is just it's under supervised, under financed, and it's not well, it's not very, it's a constant turnover. I've seen 4 different clerks in the time that I've been in the office that I'm in for the county prosecuting attorney's office. So by the time you train somebody, they're already leaving because of it. And that's the same thing in the foster care systems, in children's division, in the family support services, in the law enforcement, whether that's, your police, your PD, or your sheriff's office, or your state troopers. State troopers are constantly, I think we have like 4 for a county the size I mentioned. And there's a constant circulation. There's a few old, like kind of OG that kind of hang around. But it is, the whole criminal system is not corrupt, but under-noticed. And as long as society keeps churning along at a reasonable pace and everything seems fine, it's okay. While consistently, there is there's drug trafficking, manufacturing, distribution, human trafficking, incredible amounts of sexual abuse, murder rates, typically linked to the other ones I mentioned. It's the same people over and over again, and some of them complete strangers, but it's a societal issue that I don't know how you would even address it,
Yeah, I wonder on that because we've gotten to that point. I was born and raised in Memphis, so I watch stuff that happens in Memphis, and because I love that crazy city, but it's truly gone to hell in the last 15 years and like that. It used to be, well, you kind of watch your blood here and there, and you knew where not to go, and now it really don't even matter. It's like, it's why it's number 1 on all the list. Number 1 for most murders, number 1 for most violent crime. We have a joke around saying if, come to Memphis and for the barbecue and Elvis and leave because you leave because you're in a body bag. It's a sad situation, and we wonder on that. Like me and James talked about that before. Like, it's a societal situation now where people like bred into the system. There's such a money in the system to rotate people in and out. The privately owned prisons has grown out, exponentially through the years, and that's I think that's one of the top. Me personally, I think that's one of the top contributing factors into this, because once you're making money and you're putting something into like that, making profit off of it, then there's incentive to keep people in there or rotating through there. And once you start pulling, people through, and then these people their daddy's gone, their mama's gone, they're living alone, their grandparents, and they let them do what they want to do. And now we're getting multi-generational situation of this, and that's why we're at the point we are today, where people just don't care. They have no, like, you would see somebody do something, like, why would they even fathom doing that? Does somebody turn their head and they hit punching women for no damn reason just because they're there, or punching old people, for no damn reason, they didn't say nothing, and it's like, I never would have thought that, in my mind, like, man, that'd be a funny thing to do, or whatever, just because they have such anger and just lostness, and it's not calling, like, not calling any races out, it's across the board, and it's a green thing, truly.
It is a green thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you couldn't. Go ahead, Jen.
they don't make money off a lack of crime. They make money off there being crime and there being a steady pace of a certain amount of crime and a certain type of crime. And that's what I've seen. That, pulling it off the street isn't it's not necessarily the goal after a time. And law enforcement, many of them, I've seen them get so frustrated when it gets to the court system that, detectives and the work that they're doing, like there was a young detective and she was doing all this really heavy lifting, and the stress and the strain of it, of seeing how it's not like you see in TV shows. It's not like you see in the movies. It goes on for years. It could take years. And then so many cases that are under just review, that never see the light of the court system at all. They're received by law enforcement. They go into the prosecuting attorney's office, but they stay in a state of review and continually receiving as much information as possible. But so much time goes by. I'm just saying it's disturbing that crime fuels the finance of many of these local, that's just how it works. It's taxpayer money. And then it's the money from the individuals that are committing the crimes. And even if they go into incarceration, they may be in there for, and people don't know it, but like the sentence that they get in court, they may serve out of a, 6-year sentence, 2 years, 2-3 years, depending on, and it's all this sort of language that the general public doesn't really understand. And they can even have entire criminal records just wiped off of their criminal history if they perform appropriately, or even if they've violated, their bond, they've violated their probation. It goes to, all of that goes through the system. But what I'm saying is that crime pays for the system, and the system is upheld by the crime. So to eliminate crime isn't it's the goal to keep it moderate and not too obvious, but especially with some of these judges, that are in their lifetime judges, it's wild. And now Tennessee, my brother went to school in Nashville, and it's a beautiful state. And so I just wanted to say that whenever I think of Tennessee, it's like, my brother went to school there. I had a driver come like the other day. I had to take an Uber, and he was from Tennessee, and he sounded just like you. And Tennessee is a beautiful state, So, and it's like a lot of these states, in the South and in the lower Midwest and all these regions, they deal with a lot of the crime and their own problems themselves, locally. And so it doesn't get out into the big spectrum, They try to deal with it themselves. And the people are very tough. And so they put up with a lot more than the national news would recognize. And even if they did, what could they do about it? Because it's a local issue, most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, seems like you said, seeing people get their records expunged, and then you start looking to it is, you got to follow the money, and as always, it's like I said, you have everybody's getting paid down the line, and I've known a bunch of officers and stuff like that, and even some in the family, and a lot of times the officers' hands are tied. Like, You know, to the point like, no, we don't even care. Like, if we lock this person up, we're gonna see him in a couple days. And
Yes.
you know,
It's
and right
extremely
back out.
frustrating for them. They'll write up PC statements, and because they cannot be exact enough about all the details, they'll have to rewrite it again, and you'll have to call them and they're asleep, and they gotta reframe, say domestic assault to say that there's a domestic relationship or anything of the kind, or you know this, that, and the other, and they're just normal people. Law enforcement officers, many times most of them have only been in it for a couple of years, and they're still not, they're familiar, they're impassioned and emboldened and young to do this work. But then when it comes down to the court system, you know, search warrants, things like that, and getting those signed by prosecuting attorneys or judges, they have to jump through so many different hoops, and they have to show up to court hearings that actually don't happen. So they show up on their day off, and they come into court, and it doesn't happen, or they reset it, they get a continuance, or what have you. And even when they know that someone, I saw a state trooper pull a guy over leaving a drug house. He found syringes on his personal body and searched the vehicle and brought a dog in, a drug dog. And all of that through a motion to suppress, it's a motion to suppress evidence brought on by a defense attorney. And they come in and say that the search was unfounded, that there was no reason to search the person. The person said that they had type O diabetes, which is not a real thing. And he said that the syringes, I knew that he didn't have type O diabetes. It's a true story. And, so he searched him, and the defense attorney said that the search was unwarranted because, maybe the individual there was some reason for it or something. There was no reason to, and that whole case, that evidence got thrown out. Even though he was found with meth and like 4 different syringes tucked into his socks and pocket. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, if you got diabetes, you're not putting your needles in your pocket and your socks.
Well, there's no such thing as type O diabetes.
Number one is, there's no type 0, no type O. But, like, even if you had diabetes and you had type 3 diabetes where you got to get shot or whatever, you're still not putting the needles in your socks. That's crazy. And
the judge presiding over that hearing asked the trooper, well, are you a medical professional? I kid you not. Unbelievable.
Right. Right, no. But there is no such, I don't know, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the job. Like, I'm too blunt. I was telling my friend that was helping me do the scrapping, I was telling her, I think the day I was telling stories of how I was cussing my VPs, vice president of the companies and the owners and everybody else out, like, we're doing stupid crap, and I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be standing in front of him like that kind of job and be front of a judge and turn around him saying something just
boots on the ground.
Stuff.
Boots on the ground, 7 years as a state trooper, knew that the house was a drug house, pulled the guy over leaving, saw him shuffling around. Everything was there, and the evidence was there. So, but yet it was thrown out. That evidence was, and I honestly think these judges are not impervious. They are normal people, as everyone probably knows if they've ever went through the system at all. And on a whim or on a bad day, if I'm being honest, just of what they're going to do. And I'm not trying to say incredible things and do, that long arm of the law type of thing in some cases, but to disrespect even the training of the trooper who've been doing it for so long, it was a shame to watch.
No,
And
I
he's trying to
imagine.
help. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying, I imagine that's crazy. That's, totally disrespected the man who's been out there risking his life, by the judge to sit behind that bench or whatever. And it makes you wonder, hey, what kind of corruption is there, or what kind of,
Well, they have to get
is the judge
reelected.
getting paid? Is the judge getting paid? Let me check his damn. Has he bought something big lately?
They gotta get
He's got several
reelected.
products. He,
Those are elected positions.
it,
So yeah, I
it,
don't know.
getting elected on some of them politicians like that is ridiculous. We had, like Memphis had Ricky Smiley. He went to prison for embezzlement, come back out, got reelected, and then got in trouble for embezzlement again. And it's like some of the people just get voted in because because one side either they're doing things for people they shouldn't be, or hey, that's the name I know. People going down as another thing. I hate the party line BS too. The people that's like, well, I vote blue no matter, or I vote red no matter. I'm like, there's some messed up people on both sides that you need to question who the hell that is and who. So that's irritating, to say the least.
Hey, I'll be right back. 1 second. I
Okay.
check
No problem. The shadow has appeared in the stream for everybody. Watch his we'll switch the little thing here this a little bit. More random videos. Watch these go. Talking about almond milk. How many of y'all been drinking almond milk?
Almonds, what's fascinating, and we can look it up. Almonds, the amount, it's something like 19 gallons of water is what you have to give to get one almond.
Is that real?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's fucking bananas.
My doctor told me almonds aren't even good for you.
Well,
He said they're okay for you. He said, but
there was a time in the Mediterranean where they were poisonous. They have strychnine in them, and it's one of the first domesticated plants. And what people realized, whoever, Homo sapiens or Neanderthals, whoever's wandering around, they're like, the squirrels are eating those poisonous nuts from that tree. They're okay from this one, not okay from that one. So they started cutting down and uprooting all the ones where the squirrels wouldn't eat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so the almond originally,
Relatively water intensive crop. Each nut
1,900 gallons of water per pound.
That's so crazy.
And then,
oh my God,
here's my new, look, I'm a writer, right? So words matter to me, and when we misuse them in our society, it just bothers me, right? So all these things that we're calling milk, like almond milk,
right?
And I'm just determined to call it almond juice, because that's what it fucking is. It's not even almond juice. It's not like we're extracting.
It's almond tea almost.
We're taking almonds, pulverizing them, and brining them in water, essentially leaching out the flavor of the almond, and then adding a bunch of shit to it and sugar and whatnot.
Adding a lot of sugar. My friend Duncan was like, "Dude, almond milk is good for you." I go, "You ever look at how much sugar is in there?" And we were on the phone, and he goes, "Holy shit!" I go, "Yeah, man, that's why it tastes good." But my doctor told me I had oxalates in my diet, in my blood test. He said, "Your oxalates are kind of high." He goes, "Are you eating almonds?" And I said, "Yeah, I eat almonds all the time." He's like, "Yeah, cut back." He goes, "That's where it's from."
Really?
Yeah. So find out how much oxalates are in almonds. I just listened to him, and also it's a lot of a lot of that gluten-free flour stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy a lot of that stuff, it's like almond flour a lot of the times.
Right.
Almonds are a high oxalate food. Eating them can raise oxalate levels that circulate, get filtered by the kidneys, and appear in urine, which may increase kidney stone risk in susceptible people. Yeah. Almonds contain about 296 milligrams of oxalate per 100 grams, roughly 4 milligrams per nut, putting them in the high oxalate category. Yeah, he said they're not bad if you just have them every now and then. He goes, but don't do it on a regular basis. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that has high oxalates that people don't think about it that can really fuck you up. Kale, for instance. Like I used to drink kale smoothies all the time until another doctor told me you really should cook the kale. Cook it and then filter out whatever the water's in it. And I go, really? I go, why? He goes, oxalates. He goes, you want to cook the oxalates out of them.
Really?
Yeah, and that's apparently what causes a lot of kidney stones. With some folks, they drink a lot of those green smoothies, which I used to do every day. I used to take a bunch of kale, throw in a bunch of apples and some ginger and some garlic and blend it all up and drink at the beginning of the day. I thought I was doing a good thing. And he was like, you're just blasting your system with oxalates. And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, no.
Have
Have some fucking eggs, bro.
He said, have bacon. Have some bacon. I'm like, fucking bacon's better for you? Like, my journey of figuring out what to eat was a long one. It was a long one, and thank God I got this podcast, because if I hadn't had all those conversations with people where I realized, like, oh, so we're like, and now the food pyramid's completely flipped, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's like I've had enough conversations where I realized, like, oh, all these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're giving advice. And it's weird. It's weird how much bad advice there is for food and for health and for fucking fill in the blank. Almost everything in our society.
Our food pyramid was created by Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
Didn't it? Or
Yeah.
Kellogg's, which is
Kellogg's,
Johnson
one of those,
Johnson.
yeah.
It's like, how do we get people to eat our shit in the morning and then again at lunch?
Yeah, I think it was Kellogg's that created the food pyramid, because they wanted you to eat more grains. And that's the thing that what we're looking at, so much propaganda on the foods.
Yeah,
So, hey, this is good.
there actually is. Have you heard of the alpha-gal?
Uh-uh.
Tick-borne meat the tick-borne meat allergy.
Oh, yeah. I just don't know the name of it. Yeah, I did hear about
Yeah,
that.
they call it alpha-gal. And they say it's underreported. It's underreported. There may be like, triple or quadruple the number of accounts of alpha-gal. And people think that their alpha-gal is actually like nervous system issues, or it's neurological issues, or it's allergies. But they've actually been bitten by ticks. 71% of the ticks in the region I live in are the Lone Star tick. And it carries alpha-gal. All of the mammalian creatures have natural alpha-gal sugars in their systems. But apparently great apes and humans do not. And they have some type of reaction now. I don't know why or what caused it or anything. I'm not, a specialist or anything. But when they're bit by these ticks, the body has a histamine reaction. And they develop this allergy, not to the meat, but to the alpha-gal sugars that are in four-legged mammalians. So you're looking at pork, deer, cows, goats, rabbits, anything like that. And when people eat this, it causes a uptick in alpha-gal sugars in their system. They have a histamine reaction that looks like brain fog, dizziness, stress, allergies, sleeplessness, on, and all the way down to anaphylactic shock, because of the introduction of alpha-gal sugars into their system, and then their natural histamine reaction kind of going overboard. And so they are unable to consume mammalian meats, milks. So you're looking at cheese, milk, sour cream, all these different things and all these different meat products being extricated from their diet, because if they consume it, it causes long-term strange symptoms associated with it. And in the state that I live in, they're introducing legislation to track all of that, because it's an epicenter for this condition. And many of the symptoms people have, they don't know it, but it's like Lyme disease. They have this alpha-gal introduction of histamine reaction, probably due to some type of biological alteration, I would think, because I mean, though it's been around for decades, we have not seen the prolific readings for diagnosis of alpha-gal, but they actually have entire blood tests and everything now, because it's becoming sort of endemic. It's becoming an epidemic where it's why people are having these symptoms and what caused it, but who knows. But a big increase happened after, well, interestingly, around 2017, 2018, 2020, 2021, they started seeing those numbers go up to where now entire restaurants, grocery stores in this region, legislation is going into place to address it, because the people can't consume normal mammalian products, and despite them being better for you, cannot consume them and have to find alternative ways to get the same nutrients they would naturally get from those pathos, from the mammalian sources. And so it's not that, it's like a forced vegetarianism of, you can still have chicken, fish, shellfish, you know, things like that, like when in the instance here where they're mentioning almond milk, stuff like that that's being available in the market, but that's the only option to people in that predicament. And so if it reduces brain fog, if it reduces confusion or, you know, allergy symptoms or whatever have you, and it's being delivered through an aggressive lone tick source that seeks out. And I grew up in Texas. I'm from Texas originally. And we had Lone Star tick. I mean, it's named after that. And I never, ever have heard of this in my life. I never heard of anybody ever talking about it. But just in the last, you know, decade, it's an epidemic. It's a growing epidemic for these regions. And ironically, it reduces people to a level of vegetarianism, or they're physically punished with symptoms that prevent them from living a normal life, that they often can't figure out what the symptoms are. They may have fibromyalgia, they may have this, that, and the other. And this is not medical advice. I'm just saying it's odd. It's a strange situation. And it's not a good solution. As we know, and I'm a big proponent of eating red meat. I grew up in Texas, and the best minerals you can get are from these upper level mammalians, such as cattle or deer. You know, they have high nutrient dense meat. But if you remove that from society, and you have to make do with chicken, turkey, and fish, and shellfish, it's very interesting that there is something strange going on. And it's becoming more and more prevalent, this diagnosis, through blood work, that they have a heightened level of alpha-gal sugars in their bloodstream that are caused by being bit. Not even just stuck on ticks, but like even getting bit, and getting bit multiple times, you know, and not actually having a tick stick on you, like Lyme disease, they have to stay on for 24 hours or 48 hours or what have you. But, you know, they bite you and you have a little histamine reaction, but then it builds up on itself. It's an an epidemic, a biological weapon. I'm just totally going to say I think it's a biological weapon. But the people who suffer with this, which are actually in the regions that I'm talking about and where you live and where I live, it's going on. And they're actually passing legislation as we speak because it's becoming such a problem for, for people and how they're going to handle this going forward because people, have anaphylactic shock from eating a hamburger. It's insane. And it's being transferred through a biological weapon. Through an insect, it's terrifying to think about, but it's the world we're living in. And for people who may be suffering with those things, they'll do whatever they need to do to avoid those symptoms to live as normal of a life as they can. They may not drink almond milk, but it's interesting too with the almond milk that almond was linked because a certain amount, same thing with peach pits. Actually, we're talking about a lot of medical stuff. I'm going to leave it. So, I don't know, but there's a lot of controversy around it. And people have to look into it themselves and check it out. But it's strange. It is super strange.
It's all right. Yeah, we'll just do a disclaimer. It's at the beginning. It's in the description. We are not doctors. We're not giving out medical advice. We're here to have fun. Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. It is a bioweapon. I really do. It seems that way. We know that they've been CRISPR modifying mosquitoes. They've been modifying ticks. To help, prevent disease and to eliminate blah blah blah. Every time they start messing with Mother Nature fights back.
They can't leave anything alone. Bill Gates bought up massive swaths of land down in Arkansas. It's like, why? What for? And then you have so much, I don't know, you have so much going on. And it's like, they're buying it up. These are rich lands for everything. You can do anything with the dirt in Arkansas. You can grow rice, you can grow cotton, you can feed cattle, you can go on and on. It's a very good dirt. And interestingly, he chose Arkansas, of all places, to buy up some vast swaths of land. All the while telling everybody they should be eating bugs. And then the people are suffering from these strange symptoms in those areas that go completely unnoticed as it's happening, and they have no other choice if they realize it, if they bother to get the blood work done or see if the detective I was talking about discovered that it was Lyme disease. She, 30 years old, came down with a case of Bell's palsy. They said it was stress related. Then they found out she had acute liver failure. She's doing fine. She's getting medical attention, but she's not on the job. Lyme disease. And we know about with Lyme, they think it's related to Lyme disease. And she said, when I was talking to her on the phone, that, I don't even remember ever seeing anything like the bullet, the bullseye, from tick bite. Everyone knows that in this area. And I was always thinking when I saw the videos, when people were talking about, oh my God, the ticks. It's like, well, you're apparently not from here because these ticks are just, boom. Like when it happens, they're everywhere. So, I thought for a long time that they were just being kind of silly. It's like, of course there's a lot of ticks. Maybe you're not from the area, but yeah, there's a lot of ticks. There's a lot of ticks and everything else that wants to, bite you and everything on. It's an incredible problem, constant problem. But, people used to, when I was a kid, they used to burn back controlled burns, and you were allowed to legally just burn back fields and clear out underbrush by controlled burning. And I remember that when I was a kid, just, watching them do these controlled burns to kill off the pestilence, essentially. And they won't let you do a lot of that stuff anymore. And I wonder if there's something about that, It
could be, because, maybe they're worried that you're going to burn up the modified little buggies they're putting in the system and putting out there. I've seen some people doing some clear and burning the other day in the field. And it's one of the best things to do because it adds like nitrogen back into the system, begins to burn, and
Oh, Lily
charcoal and
said,
stuff.
Lily said, what happens to the animals that they bite? Now, most mammalians already have alpha-gal in their bloodstream. So, cattle, deer, rabbits, all these other mammals, they have alpha-gal, receptors. But human beings and other great apes, apparently, which I don't know what to make of that, through some genetic, shifting or whatever, they do not. And they have a histamine reaction to it at some level, from what I understand, which is really odd.
Almonds, you know what's fascinating?
Sorry.
And so
No
that's
problem.
really bizarre,
It is. And I was looking it up. Another thing, and he brought up his name. This video is going to get taken down on YouTube. But Uncle, since we already said the hell with it, Uncle Bill, of course, he has the Beyond Meat. He's got the Impossible Food. So he's invested millions of dollars in alternative meat companies. It's kind of a coinkydink, but all of a sudden,
yes,
of something that he is invested in too is causing people to not be able to eat the other property. My mic's still muffled. I don't know what else to do there. I see Andy say that.
No, I can hear you fine. I don't know
Okay.
how it sounds like a normal microphone, but I'm used to listening to I can hear you fine.
Okay.
But it may not. I don't know if I don't know. But no, with Bill Gates, doing all of that, investing in that, telling people they're going to have to eventually eat bugs, going on and on. When people for centuries in these regions have been exposed to these same exact ticks, and they didn't develop an allergy, to the spit of the ticks. I mean, it was a nuisance, but not something that, would put them down, with more and more exposure by being bit by them. That is crazy. And so I don't know. I think there's something about it. It's a shame to imagine. We have a whole generation coming up that may be experiencing a sort of allergic reaction to a natural part of the environment. But no, the other mammalians, besides people, have this alpha-gal sugar. It's a type of sugar. See? So, I don't know. I do think it is intentional in some way. Because there was never a problem. My family in Texas, they were cattle ranchers. There was no problem. There were tons of ticks and things like that. And you're talking about prairie lands that, and the deer and everything. So I don't know. But you go all the way back to Plum Island and, Lyme disease and the creation of that. And with this, I remember that Bill Gates talking about giving people vaccines through salad dressing and putting it in their food because they were not willing. See, I think that this is a whole angle that is not suitable really for YouTube, but because I don't want it to become an issue. But you know what I mean. You know exactly what I'm saying. I think everybody listening might know. But bizarre symptoms that appear to be without any basis could be linked to this. And it reduces you to chicken, shellfish. As of now, chicken, shellfish, and nuts and plants and things like that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but who doesn't like a brisket and so on and so forth? So it's, especially when it's societal like that. Do you know what I mean? Like where it's built into the culture and it makes sense. You know, there's special nutrients you get from red meat that you can't get anywhere else because of the way that they digest, you know, the plant life and everything. And when you, it's just, it makes, you know, I'm just saying it's okay to just live off chicken and everything else, but God, nobody wants to. But if it's an issue where they've made you allergic to it by force, and you have, especially the entire region where most of that is actually produced, interesting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention
Absolutely.
that deer, the zombie virus, the deer zombie virus. I mean, all of that's an issue too in this region. It's just strange. Wasting disease.
Absolutely. Now, I did figure out my mic situation, so thanks to Indy. I didn't pay. I had my troubles when I first started, and I had to reboot. And I guess for whatever reason, normally it keeps it where it's supposed to, but it put the mic on my camera on, so it was feeding.
It does
So
sound clear. I
yeah,
had
it
no
was
problem
picking up
with it. 'Cause I was
everything.
just,
Yeah,
you know, I was fine with it. But
yeah, let's
no, it
pick it up
definitely.
everything. I was like, 'cause I was watching it was like the cat was in the. You can hear the cat scratching.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
normal. Yeah, that's
yeah, I'm
totally
like, wait a minute. Let me
normal.
look. And
Well,
it wouldn't
you
let me
know,
change it, so I actually had to pull up another browser and pull
it
up.
does sound clearer. I'm just on the mic on my computer because I did get a new mic. I'll have to hook it up. You know, I have, you know, like you get something in the mail, you know you're going to use it, but you don't hook it up. You know, I need to do that, but I haven't.
Shoot, I got to do it as soon as I get it. I don't know. I'm tearing it in. As soon as I buy something or something comes in the mail, I'm ripping the package open like a little kid in Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I looked at it and I was like, oh, I got to hook all that up. I don't know. You know?
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. Like I had to hook up this box, and I was wondering. I was like, yeah, I was like, what is going on here? I'm like, I'm messing with the knobs over here. I'm like, it shouldn't be messing up, but yeah, that's because I haven't been going through this mic. It's been sitting in my face, not doing anything.
I got one of those Blue Yeti. That's what I got. I haven't tried one of those. The last mic I had was $20 off Amazon. It worked really good. And then it just went out. And then I didn't replace it for a long time. And then just recently when I started doing these videos, I was like, oh, I better get a microphone. Because I'm having to do this, that, and the other, you know.
Yeah, I got some lapel mics, but I never use it. And then I got I'm trying to think what the name of the brand of this is, but this mic here has been really good to me. I've had a couple, and this one I stepped up, and then maybe it's on this.
Andy said that, you know, that mine was clear. I can't. I'm listening from, you know, Riverside here, but I'm using just my laptop. But, you know, I could hear you. It's like talking on the phone or something. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, yeah. I got the Fafan mics. I use it, and it's been for a reasonable cheaper mic and everything. Not going all out. One day I'll buy a high dollar Shure or something like that, but this will do fine for right now. But yeah, she said it earlier, and I'm like looking and looking. I was like, man, I don't see nothing. What could it be wrong? And I finally clicked on there on my.
She was right. Because now hearing it, I'm like, oh, that's really much clearer, actually. Much clearer.
Everybody, yeah. All right, now we can get back to it. Talk back. Go back to try and get kicked off YouTube for today. Yeah, if it happens, it happens. As always, if follow Rumble, the channel on Rumble, just in case YouTube decides to go. Hopefully, they don't kick it off today because they kick off everything.
I mean, we should talk about something else. I think because we don't want to let's talk about something else.
All right, I got a cool video. I'll share the cool video next. That way, keep us from. Like I said, it's probably too late anyway, but it'll be all right. It is what it is. This is the hidden one of the hidden cave churches there. Jay Anderson's down there around Cairo.
It makes me feel so because I mean you're trying to talk about stuff, but you're right. You know, we shouldn't talk about any of that. Yeah.
It's one of them things. It's like, yeah, we should be able to talk about
I'm
it.
sorry if
No,
it,
no, I'm cool with it. Like I said, if it happens, it happens. I mean, I've done my classes a few
let's
times
not
on
talk about it
YouTube.
too much more. We're not even carry on about it in case they just don't notice.
Yeah, I've turned around and I've had to do the classes before, and especially when I first started, I was saying
Well,
stuff
it's
like,
purely speculative. It's just one,
"Oh yeah,
you
yeah." I mean,
know,
it's
with that
we
alpha
don't know for
gal.
sure.
It's just one.
Yeah, we don't know for sure, and it's all. And we're not doctors. We're not. We're just here for your entertainment purposes. That's it. That's the extent of it. But yeah, this is kind of cool. This video, Jay Anderson's down there in Cairo. If you don't follow Project Unity, is pretty. He does some cool stuff. But check out this church. Of course, the music makes it ominous, but and the acoustics in there must be incredible. But they don't have to use a microphone. Yeah, I bet they don't even have to use a microphone. Just the acoustics of the building, of the rock, and it's just bouncing off. And I bet it is
Well,
incredible.
see, I want to add one thing. Why can Joe Rogan talk about almond milk and go on and on about that? And, and yet we can't speculatively talk about these things. But Joe Rogan can. And I can tell you that, like, Joe Rogan, if you wanted to have Joe Rogan come talk on your show, God knows what it would cost, So that's interesting in and of itself. But why can Joe Rogan talk about that? Talk about the benefits or the drawbacks, well, particularly the drawbacks of almond milk. When almond milk, almonds have been linked to all kinds of other things that are beneficial. So I don't know. It's very interesting how the logarithm picks and chooses who can talk about what. Joe Rogan can say what he wants, but your channel cannot. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean they try to take certain people down.
And I love Joe Rogan. I think he's fun to listen to. Just want to say that.
Yeah, no hate or nothing, but yeah, I mean, man, he just got enough pull that they're making enough money. But I know certain channels, even though they had like millions of people, they got knocked down for saying certain things. I think they have lightened up because you hear more on YouTube talk about a lot of this stuff. So I think they have lightened up some of the chokehold on what you can say. I haven't, like I said, I haven't got dinged in a while, but usually if I say Bill
Well, let's
Gates,
stick to it.
I
Let's
get
stick to you
dinged.
not getting dinged at all.
I'm not monetized anyway. It's no big deal. I'm kind of like my buddy Creek. I was like, it's no big deal. It is what it is.
Now, this church, right? Is this an underground church?
Yeah, this underground church in Cairo. The thunder rolls. Amazing. Be cool to see. I like to go. I wish I could go. Like I wish the world wasn't so
Have you
like
seen
chaotic.
the Ethiopian, the Church of Labiella?
Yeah,
Whew. It's crazy.
it's amazing.
It's in Ethiopia, for those listening, and it's built down into the bedrock. And so when you're looking across the horizon, you can't see anything. It's just this vast, a prairie, for lack of a better word, until you come right up on it. And then it drops several hundred feet. And from the sky, it looks like a cross on the ground. And around it, there's just a hollowed out of the earth. They say that it was dug by angels and at night, nocturnally. And then the tunnel systems go through, they say that it goes through the entire region. So for miles off of that. And these churches are connected in Ethiopia and Labiella. And in that region, they still have priests that speak Giaz, which is this old form of language, one of the oldest forms of language on the planet left. And the priests that carry that same, that same language knowledge, interpreting the Book of Enoch, which they still adhere to. So it's a Christian church, but they follow the Book of Enoch as their primary book for the most part. It reminds me a lot of the Yazidis. The Yazidis in the Middle East, who are considered Satan worshippers because they revere this angel. I can't remember the name for the angel, but it's a peacock angel, essentially. But they're considered devil worshippers, and were continually assaulted and attacked by the Shiite Muslims of the region. But underground churches and systems, it's just wild, that they were building underground this way. And it doesn't seem like a far reach that maybe it wasn't people who built these. Imagine honestly, what would it take? Why would they be so dedicated to building these churches, these structures, underground to that extent?
Yeah, I wonder on somebody sometimes, especially on underground cities or like in Turkey and, of
It was
course.
called Malek Tuas. The Yazidi are considered Satanists. They say that the children of those tribes will not step out of a chalk circle. And all of their belief systems and rituals are sort of a top secret. Like, you have to be from, within their society. But the peacock angel is called Malek Tuas. And it's basically Lucifer. Some people have related it to Luciferian beliefs, Satanism, things like that. But an angel that was standing in place of God, that God had given this Malek Taus, this angel, control over this realm. And so they believe not that he is God, but that he is sort of the caretaker in place of, for now, at this time. And they're considered Satanists. The Yazidi. Yezidi. And they're persecuted severely by surrounding peoples. And it's really fascinating because even the Native American belief systems, or American Indian belief systems in North America, there's a very similar mindset about that. And even some of the, no, not to compare them in this way right here, what I'm fixing to say, but the sacrifices that would be considered by Protestants, or actually any religious belief at all, that they were sacrifices to Satan or the devil. But their belief systems hold with the Yazidi that there is an angel that is in position of sort of looking over things for the time being, and that he is constantly observing and will eventually make some sort of decision about everything. That's why it's related to Satanism. But, anyway, just kind of interesting. But those underground churches built into the bedrock like that, supposedly built by angels, in quote, according to the Ethiopians who live there, that they were built, the lore says that they were built at night, that they could only come out at night to work on it. And I think that's really fascinating, What does that even mean? What would they even insinuate?
Well, you hear that too, like a lot of places, and even that place down in Florida where that guy was working that night, um, we got, where'd it go? We got another special guest. What's up, James? And before you say something, James, well, thank you, the Quiet Pod, the Quiet Part Pod. Let me say this stuff right for the raid. Appreciate you. Let me hit that raid button. What's up, James?
I just thought I'd stop in for a bit.
Oh, cool.
Hello, Jen.
Hey, how are you?
Okay. You've been great so far tonight, as always. Just wanted to figure I'd jump in because we're onto things that I kind of have heard about a little bit, and all these
Yes.
underground structures are fascinating to me as well. So.
Yes. One last thing, and then I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
The weird thing about, with Metatron, a sort of archetype of angel, this concept of, overlooking society or the world in some way or watching it, it relates a lot back to the idea of Enoch with the Book of Enoch, the Church of Labiella, that Enoch became this archangel, well, in a position of archangel as a human being or a type of human being, because we could say that these were pre-Diluvian, and we can go into something else entirely, but that Enoch became Metatron, which is this whole other thing that basically, I don't know, it's just really fascinating.
Yeah, all these entities, beings from throughout time, to me are fascinating. That are not the same as basically what are thought of as regular people. To me, are fascinating, and then their abilities and how and where they come from, or where they come from, how they get those have those abilities, and is that how some of these underground places were created?
Yeah. Well, they said that Enoch, he was taken. And then in some of these texts, they say that he became Metatron, who was on a throne equal to God's throne, as a hypothetical situation, watching over the entirety of humanity. So you have this idea that humanity, one of its own, became, or didn't become, was taken and put at equal level, and this was considered completely sacrilegious, and became a type of angel that recorded and watched over the entire activities of humankind. It's just this strange idea. And that it's, there were some rabbis that went and saw through vision. There was one particular one, I can't remember the name, but that he saw two thrones, and that one of them was Metatron, and one of them was the other. But that that place had been given in that way to Enoch. In that lore. Just really fascinating. And then you have entire cultures built around a similar concept, like with the Yazidi, or with the Church of Labiella. They believe that idea. There's something like that going on. There's an overseer that is not necessarily judging, but is taking down everything through some kind of mechanism. It's strange to believe. But there's entire cultures built on it.
Yeah, and then there's so many reports of anomalous things that people see that don't try to interact. There's no positive or negative effect or intention, it seems. It's just people noticing that they're being watched or noticed.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, Jen, it don't matter wherever you want to go. I'm good with whatever. This discussion here has been really good so far, and I think the chat is enjoying it too. So we can get on the other stuff later. There's how late everybody wants to hang, but um, because it's no big deal. I'm good to talk about this stuff because it is interesting to see. These and I always interested to see all these like say the ancient societies, and you see it all around the world where they dug or made places inside on of course ancient alien theory is they had a great battle in the sky for which I think was it the Hindu I think actually had tales of that kind of thing happening in India. um so it's of course they sound like battles in the sky and with actually maybe even nuclear weapons way in talks, but there's got to be a reasoning for the going the underground, especially some of them as deep as they went, because that's a lot of manpower and time and effort.
Yeah. Yeah, they say that, like with Enoch, when he was taken, he was brought through different layers, almost like Dante's Inferno, and that he was stretched in every direction. It was just like, must have been, I can't imagine the experience, but he was transformed through that process of going through these different levels. And then you hear about, like, with the 9 circles of hell and things like that, that are prolific in lore. And then you think about, there are other different, areas of conversation where they talk about the different planets and how they are different spheres of existence. As you go through them, you're changed by them, metamorphose, and then return back again or not again. But with Enoch, that he was transformed and he became this sort of um, a record keeper, a recorder of deeds for the earth, you know.
Mhm.
You know what I wonder now too? So, with this whole idea of reincarnation being possible, and I've heard before that uh, people can be uh, reincarnated into animal form, or animals can be basically vice versa. But I'm really wondering now, what is to stop anyone from who's being reincarnated, basically moving from one form to the next, from what is to stop the process from changing them into, let's say, an alien, whatever aliens are, or a cryptid creature, or any of these other beings that we hear about throughout time that have these other powers.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's some that think, that, maybe people are, are there's theories on it that people are reincarnated into like, animals and, especially like how certain like cats or dogs or some act a certain way or um, act more human like, that they possibility. Um, but that number is that'd be interesting, that'd be pretty wild. You pass away here, and all of a sudden, then you're a skinwalker. You can be Mothman, James. Since you like Mothman and everything, you could be Mothman.
I said I like the Mothman prophecies, the experiences. I don't know if I said I like being Mothman. There you go again, Ricky, trying to put words in my mouth. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, and I see Matt's out talking about the if there are layers of hell, then aren't there layers of heaven? I was thinking on the layers of hell. I know a lot of like what we think about nowadays, like Dante's Inferno and stuff like that. A lot of the layers of hell wasn't even brought into common thought process until the Middle Ages and stuff. You know, it was, it's
Yeah.
more, they weren't
Maybe it
talking about that.
was the layers of heaven. Because there's an inversion, so there's a confusion about. Like, we don't know what's up or down. If you were to think about it, if you go up, and there are, these different 9 gates, so to speak, of existence. In fact, when I was doing research about the Frankist Sabbatian cults, they believe there are 49 gates of basically portals of existence that go sort of, if you look at like a chart, that go below 0 and above 0, and saying that humanity may be, at the 0 mark. So you have negative down 49 gates and then up 49 gates. And the question about what's up or down, what's good or bad, would be an issue because they're all in the same world. So, yeah, you couldn't say that going up to heaven means a good thing or going down to hell is a bad thing. You wouldn't know. Just that there are different levels around us that we are either, and up or down wouldn't even matter in the scenario. It'd just be the experience of what it looked like. And it could have been either one, hypothetically, You could be, and it not mean positive or negative because the way that we interpret that, it would go beyond that at that point. It wouldn't even be on the register. I don't think you would be thinking this is pure evil or this is pure good. That'd go all out the window, probably at level 8, right? One way or the other. I don't know if that's such a thing. If that is something, and that's something described not just by our culture in the West, but worldwide. That there being some sort of layering system.
Absolutely. And Lydia would ask if there's a book of Noah. There's speculation there was a book of Noah, but no complete book. It has been found. They found pieces of them. I think they put them in with the Book of Jubilees and Book of Enoch. Kind of use some, but it's more polar no apocrypha.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Jen. Oh, I was gonna say I'm wondering here too with those extremes. Basically, I think it seems like whenever there's extremes, it's never good in a way. And I'm just thinking of how many encounters with positive beings, positive energies, because they're so strong or so intense, people are still frightened by them, even though there's positive effects. And then if you think about the negative ones, you have some of that same fear going on either way. If it's again something we don't understand or just a natural reaction, I don't know. But I'm really curious about that. The extremes, because when we see that in the physical world, extremes are rarely ever good. So I wonder if that would be the case with the sort of energetic world as well.
Yeah, okay, for example, everyone's familiar with The Exorcist. Peter Blatty's The Exorcist. It's the, most horrific film, so on and so forth. Pazuzu, the demon in The Exorcist, was used, back in that time period as a sort of guard dog for pregnant women to scare off more diabolical beings than itself. So it would scare, they had a creature, a being that was more terrifying than what they were afraid of, so that it would scare off what they were worried about. So it had to be tougher, more frightening, but it was a savior and a friend because of that. And so that's very interesting. For example, I mean, if basically that the demons in this lore, hypothetically, and maybe in any situation, more frightening, they had to have something more frightening than that was a friend of theirs. Do you see what I'm saying? So that this thing that most people would be afraid of, they were not afraid of it. It's like having a certain type of guard dog. So like that, in an interesting way. So you could have grand regions of terrifying things that have to be terrifying because of what they are up against. So you have to almost be kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, in so many parts of the world, there's parts of like each area within a larger area will have their own uh, entities that they trust more, I believe in more, or uh, speak more to them than other areas. And so, what 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 might be good, what being might be good for one area might not be good for another area. So I wonder about that as well. How much of what we think of as being
Yeah.
one way, it just depends on where you're looking at it from and who you talk to, whether it is good or bad.
Yes. So what one person could see as being a devil, like in The Exorcist, the example, as being the worst possible thing, in actual lore, was the worst possible thing for a reason. So, because it scared off things that, they were afraid of. So things that they were afraid of, they built something, or they found something bigger, tougher, you know, to stand in front of them against that. So what one culture would consider to be completely demonic, in fact, was protecting them against more demonic forces than that, as a sort of guard. So they brought up not their, but their, think about, for example, the story, and this is kind of Christianized in a way, but even the Archangel Michael, that it somehow, and I'm not leaning towards that, I'm just saying, what an interesting concept, that it was so, you know, what could stand against what is unlike. So they say, what is like unto God, in the case of Archangel Michael. So what is it? What is that being that could even be in the face of anything that would oppose anything? Very fascinating idea. So when looking at quote unquote evil forces, what does that insinuate? What would that even mean, in this context? And in the case of basically just what would scare this sort of thing off. If you look, it's interesting too, just thinking of like a cobra versus a mongoose. The mongoose is very stealth and incredibly agile, and the cobra is, unable against it, against the swiftness. But that little mongoose, whatever it is, somehow is able to get around that. So I don't know, it's really fascinating, when talking about these beings and what they are.
Ricky Ticky Tacky. Think about mongoose and the snake. Think about old Ricky Ticky Tacky. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because and you wonder, and what we've been seeing too. trying to think. I've been sitting there thinking like how to put all the words I want to put out, but and it's like, we know like a lot of things we've been told over our lifetimes and everything in our history. Like a lot of it's been so much has been manipulated, so much been BS, so much been lies. So you wonder what kind of level of that, absolutely, is up, down, down, up. If we go if we go up, we go up, we're going to hell, and go down, we're going to heaven. Is one of them. Do we really know which direction is which direction? Because everything seems to be, has been a manipulation, or especially in the last 100 years for sure. And we know for the last 2,000 years, there's been a lot of manipulation of like scripture and and twisting of the word to push an agenda that's happened over throughout the time, cause wars and like the Crusades and everything else that happened over time because of But I wonder if we could truly ever find out the absolute I like figuring out like absolute truths, and if you can, certain things are, but there's certain things that, there's, you might not ever find out the absolute truth, like it's like the Americas and stuff. We turn around, we have, when I was in school, Columbus sailed the blue in 1492, and Nina and Pinta and Santa Maria and all that. And you learn that stuff. I don't know how I remember all this stuff, but, and then you couldn't find out and act like he's the first one to touch base on America. And then we find out really, he never even stepped foot on the actual United States. And that the Vikings were here a long time before that, and possibly Chinese and a whole bunch of other people were here before that. It's pretty amazing.
Yep.
So we know our history's been manipulated. We know our history's been twisted. We know, like, for whatever reason, there's for sure idea of like for like giants and stuff, anything like that. They're major cover-ups. Anything that pushes against the narrative, there's major cover-ups. We know that. We've seen the Smithsonian get caught red-handed, several times. Just throwing away stuff. They did that with the boneyard in Alaska. They threw away all kinds of mammoth tusks and stuff up in the Hudson River because it didn't fit in their narrative of what it should be there, even though they were bringing them out like crazy.
No, yeah. There's a region by where I used to live, out when I lived out. I lived way out at one point, and there was an area that had no, this is a massive wash off of, White River, we'll say that. And White River is a very powerful river force running through the region I'm talking about. And they built a lot of dams and tried to control this water, this rush of rivers. And apparently there was a whole area in the town where I was living at the time. It wasn't really even a town, it's more like a township or a village. There wasn't even a post office. And off of that area, there was supposedly a lot of very ancient, like incredibly ancient artifacts, archaeological items that were buried by water from those dams, intentionally, just to bury it. And there was they pull up a lot of it. It's held up in the history museums in the area but a lot of it is supposedly by lore, local lore, that it was under. It's still a great deal of it underneath all of that, and they just buried it with that water because they wanted to cover up what had been there, or and whatever it would be related to, because it may not fit the narrative. And back to the, something. If you look at all the church piers and everything, you see those gargoyles that look like lions. Like I don't know what you would describe them as, a gargoyle.
Mm-hmm.
Watching out over all of that. Look like demons themselves. So very fascinating in that regard. But no, entire archaeological history buried by waters through the damming systems.
For sure on that. Like, there's a lot of the communities were buried, and I think me and James talked about this a while back on the Sunday show. That a lot of them, they were supposed to move the graveyards and stuff like that, and they didn't even do that, and so they get a lot of paranormal activity. Where they just bury these cities underwater, and so a lot of they did that, and not to mention, like, just I wonder, like, they talk about like the water levels that come up and here and there, and to a certain point, I'm sure it has, but it's we know like a lot of cities are on coasts and stuff like that. So I'm like wondering, like, how many cities and how many amazing places that would have all kinds of history and what we can know were buried under the ocean, under coral reefs, and who knows what.
Yeah, it reminds me, I heard recently that they're going to be building a big data center over Gettysburg. A huge portion of Gettysburg. They're going to build
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. They're going to build a data center over Gettysburg and then a big portion of it around it. This was on recent news I just read today. And why would you, I mean, that's so strange to take a battlefield, mass graves most likely, because many of them were just buried in mass graves, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to build those data centers over those and around them, in this particular location for a data center. But why would you build a data center over essentially a memorial? Like, it's unthinkable.
They don't think. They don't care. They don't care about
Yeah.
history. They don't care about what anything like that. They don't care about the past or national landmarks. I showed a video, I think, a couple of weeks ago on this, talking with conspiracy, and they're trying to get this guy to move his house and or just sell it, and they just want to tear it down. Like, even though it's on a national historic record, everything. I was like, they don't care. Whatever fits in with their progress, but yeah, data center on Gettysburg. Let's put the demon on one of the most paranormal spots in the world. It should be fine, wouldn't it, James? Just be fine.
I'm just really curious. I mean, is the thing even going to work? Like, because you hear about places being built and like there are issues with construction, like workers find their tools missing, or there's not that I ever wish this, but there's accidents. There's people that almost get hurt or do get hurt, and then there's so much activity in a place that a company is trying to build something on it that eventually they just stop because they can't get anyone to work there. I'd really be curious to see. I'll be curious to see how this plays out with this data center, if it does even get up and running, and if it does, then how quick is the turnover going to be for employees?
Yeah, I mean, and I showed that video earlier talking about they want to do data centers in the ocean and stuff like that.
you know, hey, we there's something funny going on with all them data centers. Like, it's like all of a sudden we're building these things like on mass effect. We've been messing with AI for many years, and all these data centers I drew deep down in my soul like has nothing to do with you playing on Chat GPT and making little pictures or anything like that. There is something else going on with these massive data centers going everywhere. Like and it's crazy. And you hear them talk about the water usage and everything, and then they turn around and go, "Well, once we get to a certain point where we're like we got to do something, then we're going to do something." It's like when we get to that point, we're all pretty screwed. We pollute all the water and we use up all the water. Like, okay, now what? Like this area here has one of the biggest like aquifers and stuff, and deep aquifers, and there's a big concern for for them, and I had that video last week. The guy was talking about it's easy. You don't have to use water to build them data centers. You can not use up water. You can and but it's a cheaper way. It's all about the damn dollar again. But there's something
It's a
evil.
shame. It is a shame because it does look like it's coming down to the dollar, but there must be a bigger agenda at work. We think dollar, but there's something obviously at work or being exchanged that is not monetary. But they're doing generation. Like, this is a generational issue, really. I mean, people are trying to say like, "Hey, we need to hold on to history. We gotta be careful, or we gotta keep track of what's going on here." And these are private citizen concerns all over the United States as these things are happening. But as they make way, and they don't invest in the infrastructure coming up, they don't invest in the infrastructure of the towns or trying to make things better. They're growing towards something entirely different. They obviously don't care what becomes of you know certain levels of historical memory at these minor levels at a local level where people are like, whoa, hey, now that's a kind of sacred ground right there. Like, I don't know if you should be doing that, but they're doing it anyway. So it's not recognized the same way, but it's happening. So I don't know and what that would mean, but I have to get around to going to bed.
Okay,
So
Jen.
I had a great time visiting with you and everything. But
I
my
appreciate
bedtime's
you
coming
popping in.
midnight. I'm
Yeah.
gonna listen. And you guys have a great night. James, it's good to see you. I'm gonna keep listening, but I'm gonna check out.
Oh, I appreciate you, Jim. Appreciate you popping in, and your insight is always amazing. And I know I appreciate you, and I know the chat.
I
And
enjoyed visiting with you, and sorry to what else, of course it's gonna go off here and there, but just trying to have a conversation. But I'll talk
that's
to you
it.
later.
That's it.
You have a good night.
You too,
James, have a
Jim.
good night. I'll see you on Saturday. Or wait, are you doing Saturday?
We lose James.
Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll talk about that on Discord, Jen, because yeah, I don't know what's happening next Saturday either. So
Sounds
let's
good.
talk in there.
We'll talk there. I'll talk to you
Yeah.
later. Have a good
Okay.
night.
You too.
Nice.
And
And the rain is here. I can hear it beating on my roof.
well, I might as well get going too, Ricky, unless you really want to stick around. But
Yeah, we're gonna probably talk about stuff you don't want to talk about. So.
yeah, I think I'll head out then.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about stuff you don't want to talk about. So, but I
All right.
appreciate you, James. I appreciate you popping in, and yeah, and you and Jim both had much love, and I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Yes, sir. And of course, we'll see James back Sunday. Well, I'll be having more fun beyond the possible. But talking in the segue right into what we're kind of talking about right here. Let me play this.
I have the honor that John Martinez was a member of the Commerce Department and NIST, and he's a Nobel Prize winning alum, which is, if you don't think the people in the Commerce Department and in NIST are the best, I mean, here's an example. Nobel Prize winner who was part of our team. You all know that the government invested $2 billion just a couple of weeks ago in quantum to drive it forward. And besides investing in the companies, we've also invested in fabs to build quantum for others so we can manufacture these quantum in America. They have Ruth Porat from Alphabet. They are doing amazing investing in building quantum. And you have Arvind right next from IBM. We invested in his fab. He's got a leading fab, so he's going to be building those chips, right? So that's that idea. And then lastly, post-quantum cryptography, right? Once you have quantum chips, we've got to protect everyone in this government, post-quantum cryptography. So NIST and the Department of Commerce is going to lead the charge to make sure all of us are protected and defended. So we know how to deal with quantum when it comes. We're going to lead in quantum, and we're going to make sure we stay safe. And these are both the things you're signing today. And that's why you have such an amazing team behind you, because you are leading the charge in quantum for America.
Truly, Trump actually looks like he just don't give us a rat's ass on this one. Whatever, dude. Whatever you say. There's actually a funny clip showing him. Dude starts talking about Albert Einstein, and Trump's like, no one cares. And everybody kind of chuckled. But yeah, you know, now we are investing $2 billion into quantum chips and the technology, and like I said, that's why I kind of lean in to the point of I do believe J.D. Vance will be our next president, because he was chosen by the tech oligarchy. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But with this type of stuff going on, it put us into the point of an interesting world for sure. Like I said, we're in our politics folder. I'm gonna give her hell on this one. Some of y'all, I'm sure some of y'all have seen this already. It's several days old, but I did want to bring it up again.
Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents that expose exactly how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19, and how Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when, under oath, he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. We also received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins, once again revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth. Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume 3 key roles that shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to big pharma and their pursuit of universal vaccines worth trillions of dollars. Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars, all of this in a deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions. Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit, and he publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available. Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives. Now, Fauci didn't stop there. He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. And we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation, marginalization, and many suffered career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after coming forward to ODNI as a whistleblower. Another example, those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers that leadership would determine which analysts would be promoted and which would not. The message was clear: go along or be punished. Senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. Now, after years of lies and censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. The tactics that were used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized, self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to the vital facts he needed to keep the country safe. It's time you know the truth.
What's up, a Watchman? He said, just kidding. Yeah, Indy, I'm glad it is talking about it. But yeah, this is stuff that we said. And yeah, good thing I didn't put this up in 22. Yeah, yeah, my shit would got. I would have no more channel on YouTube. It'd be gone. They shut so many people down just for it. And if you look back in history, you look at some of the stuff, like he was involved with all the other like major viruses that came out. Again, I'm not a doctor, but he had his hand in telling us what. Yeah, absolutely. Do not trust them. Do not trust them whatsoever. This is kind of funny video. We were talking about the food pyramid just a little bit ago. Look at AI. Yeah, we got Grand Theft. We got food groups better before we get Grand Theft Auto. Okay. Which the way it's set up now makes sense. That does make a little more sense. We're trying to get shut out today. How far did we down the rabbit hole? We're trying to get shut down, are we, today? I don't know. Our buddy BB, of course, he's speaking.
We surprise and we attack.
No, it's in English. I was thinking there was another video. And let's go for broke.
We change Israel's security doctrine. We initiate, we attack, we surprise, and we attack those enemies that seek our destruction, that seek to kill us. We attack them before they have a chance to do so. If you know Hebrew, Hakam leorgecha, hashkem leorgo. Kill them first. We change Israel's security doctrine.
Or kill who you don't like. And let's say they wanted to do things to you. Is that what's going on? Could be. Could be.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. I just spoke with President Trump for more than 20 minutes, and he gave some new insight and reaction about the ongoing talks that are taking place in Switzerland and the threats coming from the Iranian regime. President Trump telling Fox News that the U.S. may take over the strait in the future if they have to and collect tolls. The president described this as the United States being the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. And the president said ultimately that would involve the U.S. taking 20% of the oil that passes through the strait. Remember, this comes in reaction to the Iranians.
Truly, we're figuring out what the real reason why we're all this. Yeah, for a lot of people, seen it from the beginning, but there's a reason for all this shit's going on right now. It was just for oil.
Saying they will close the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country. Now, earlier today, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian said this about Iranian enrichment of uranium. The president also reacting to that. Take a listen.
We will not give up our right to enrichment, and they, too, will be forced to accept it. You all know what the so-called President of the United States was saying. He had made a complete 100-degree turn. He was saying that Iran must surrender unconditionally. Iran has no right to do this. It has no right to do that.
President Trump, during our call, responded directly to those comments by Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. President Trump told Fox News he better watch his mouth, he better shape up, or we'll take over the rest of the country. And so clearly the president reacting directly to these comments from Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian. And also President Trump talked about the broader memorandum of understanding, indicating this is just a ceasefire extension. This is not the final deal with the Iranian regime. And the president says he holds the cards and maintains a variety of options if the Iranians don't make these serious commitments at the negotiating table. He said, I have a 60-day option and I can do whatever I want after that option. So again, President Trump leaving a variety of considerations on the table and says that the United States could become the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and collect tolls itself while taking oil. Around 20%, the president says. As it relates to oil, President Trump also said that 19 million barrels of crude oil exited the Persian Gulf yesterday as a result of this memorandum of understanding with the Iranians. Guys?
So, Trey, as always, a fascinating...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is getting ridiculous. You know, threatening to bomb them all to the hell. Just take the oil, take over the country. Maybe they're gonna take them over like they did Venezuela. Maybe Iran will be the next 52nd state of the United States. There's the plan. Iran will be the 52nd state of the United States, right behind Venezuela. Which poor Venezuela right now is getting smashed with earthquakes right now. Them poor people. The whole, like I said, the whole thing that just shows is damn and yeah, spell check, Jen. That's all it was. Spell check. That chat, I love the chat. Yeah, it's crazy right now, and of course, like Congress is just voting for them to pull out over there. But again, is AIPAC going to let them, or are they going to turn around and renege on their vote? Be interesting to see. Even though some of the people, I've been surprised to call out Israel right now and Bibi on some of their hypocrisy and the BS they're doing. But it could truly, thanks Shadow, it truly could be all a damn circus and the show. But
everybody acts like Trump is the worst president ever. He's like, he's not. He's like George W. Bush. He goes, we had a $20 trillion surplus. And this guy started 2 non-ending wars and gave all the money to his friends and bankrupted us. Obama drone bombing weddings. Clinton was the guy who did that shit with the bank that made some jerk off, working at a Subway qualified to get a loan for a $400,000 house, which created that whole thing in 2008. You just keep going back. I think the only truly good person, human being, I feel, that's been president in my lifetime is Jimmy Carter. And you see the guy's in his 90s. He's still, building houses for the homeless. He's out there swinging a hammer. Everybody else just goes off and buys land that sits on an aquifer because they're I guess betting on global warming. It's funny. I remember when I was a kid, he was considered weak because he didn't, start a war with Iran. I remember that because of the hostage thing. I don't know. I just seemed like we should have kept that guy
forever.
Everybody acts like Trump is.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier. I thought I had it. What's some ominous music? Of course, we get top Israel security researchers saying the USA needs another 9/11 or Pearl Harbor. Of course, one of them is very good speculation. There might be who is involved in that situation. Quantum computer, now I show that. Shadow, you monster. Here's y'all a song. Nico's pretty funny in this. Just smiling.
They not like us, eh? Fuck the synagogue of Satan, eh? Hey, fuck the synagogue of Satan. Jew not like us, we don't want no association. Giving Jewish people a misrepresentation and using Jerusalem just for gentrification. The devil in disguise, the shit identity fraud. You claiming my religion, but you don't believe in God. You killed Jesus Christ, then you killed hip-hop. My good Jewish people, it's time to drain the swamp. Exposing the snakes in the grass and the hypocrites. Eliminate all the pedophiles and degenerates. Abusing our tribe is something to hide behind. Even the Bible said you're the destruction of mankind. Ruining our culture, you the dirtiest and slimiest. You the reason that the whole world hating Zionists. You the reason that I have to deal with anti-Semitism and keep having to apologize to Muslims and Christians. Because of y'all, everybody blaming Israel. Because of y'all, civilian children are getting killed. I'm unifying Ashkenazi and Sephardic. Let's free Palestine and turn the devil to our target. Because we long overdue for a peaceful compromise. Once we recognize there's evil on both sides. Soldiers in the IDF, I pray your soul is blessed. But understand Hamas ain't the only terrorists. Jewish privileges, I haven't received any. The Rothschild family hasn't given me a penny. George Soros hasn't given me a dime. See, he's the type of swine that's an enemy of mine. Lord, protect my bloodline from the Jeffrey Epsteins, the Harvey Weinsteins, raping and molesting, government officials who stand for ethnic cleansing, crooked politicians on the right and the left wing, Nancy Pelosi manipulating stocks, and fuck Larry Fink, the owner of BlackRock. You think Scott Gottlieb is living by the Torah? His grandfather created MK Ultra, and he's the same guy behind the Pfizer vaccine. Him and Dr. Fauci work together as a tag team. Now let's talk about Lou Pearlman molesting Backstreet Boys behind closed curtains. He discovered NSYNC and ran a Ponzi scheme. Started a record label just so he could fondle teens. Sold a lot of dreams in exchange for sexual favors, but when it's time to pay, he disappeared with the paper. Mark Jacobs got these rappers wearing purses, promoting sex changes because he's homies with the surgeons. They do it for the money, the power and control. The Illuminati's goal is to steal the human soul. They'll tempt you with a chain, some fame in a movie role, but the only way to get it is sell your booty hole. Humiliation rituals, now they got blackmail. They know their biggest threat is a fully conscious blackmail. Brainwashing you to think it's cool to get your ass killed. Population control, we all know that that's real. Love to the Orthodox, protesting the war. Cause at the end of the day, what the fuck are we fighting for? Put our faith in the Lord and we gon' find out the source before we blow up this earth and become like the dinosaurs. Amen. I thank God for this air that I breathe. Take a moment of prayer, I swear I believe. Almost extinct, last of a dying breed. A proud Jewish American hero in Tel Aviv. Tell the synagogue of Satan, do not like us, do not like us. Do not like us, Jeffrey Epstein. Do not like us, do not like us, do not like us, George Soros. Do not like us, do not like us, do not like us, Harvey Weinstein. Do not like us, do not like us, do not like us, the Rothschild family. Do not like us, do not like us, do not like us. Fuck the synagogue of Satan, it's right there in the Bible. Fuck the synagogue of Satan, do not like us. They claim to be Jews, but they have no genuine connection with God. Getting sick and tired of y'all motherfuckers misrepresenting my people, misrepresenting our culture. Everybody hates Jewish people right now because of y'all. And there's so many good, hardworking, amazing, genuine Jewish people all over this world. And because of y'all, we have to deal with anti-Semitism in our everyday life. Pick me? Fuck the synagogue of Satan.
It was kind of confusing in the beginning what side he was on. And like, okay, he's a Jew, pick me. Nah, good, pretty good. Jew not like us is hilarious, bro. That's hilarious.
I hope y'all might like that right there. He called out a little bit of everybody, though. A little bit. I'll reverse that. And what he was... Someone he called out, you know, they is there. You see him more in the Jewish community. They're absolutely calling out the bullshit. The media it covers it up. They're doing their best to kind of cover it up, but there's more and more coming out. Like, man, we're not. You know, you see clips all the time where other Jews are coming out and saying, "Hey, this, you know, that." Stop doing this in my name, basically. This is not, you know, they're using that to try to get away with murder. And there's a lot of them, a lot of Jewish people are fed up.
Damn it, Jim. Damn it. Yeah. Rand Paul here. I don't play this video. We slapping on, but yeah, Rand Paul talking about back in 2018 that how USAID, not USAID, USAID actually funded the Wuhan. Got the hiccups all of a sudden. Excuse me. The research that caused, a possible release. We know how that is. That time Joe Rogan and them talking about the same thing. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I think y'all like this. Y'all might get a kick out of this. I got a kick out of it. Of course, it's from Babylon B, so it's gonna be kind of funny.
It was late 2026, and political conflict was coming to a head. The right was not giving any ground, and the left decided it was time to take action.
We had to do something. The Republicans were using every trick in the book, mainly voting to take over our country. It was finally time for war.
The left began to quickly make preparations to take the country by force.
It's not easy to start a war. It involves a lot of talking on the phone, which gives many of us anxiety.
An initial target was settled on, a lazy suburb that served as a symbol of the bourgeoisie and capitalism. But this small neighborhood was not caught by surprise.
Doreen's son goes to one of those fruity colleges on the West Coast, and we got word from him war was coming.
The invading army descended on the small neighborhood, but the attack did not go as planned.
In the city, we're used to being able to burn down a target and no one does anything.
I guess it's different in the suburbs, though.
The suburbanites had an ace up their sleeves: firearms.
One of the big issues is how we hate guns, but the right loves them. I guess none of us considered how big a disadvantage that would put us in a civil war.
A single warning shot was fired, causing half the invading force to have a panic attack. The rest fled for their lives. The Second American Civil War was over.
Everyone said I was crazy owning 6 AR-15s. And I guess they had a point, since we had a full civil war and I barely needed the one.
The left signed a statement of unconditional surrender. The right was now fully in control of the country.
As part of the surrender, we technically own California. We're seeing if it's possible to just push it off into the sea.
Many of the losing combatants fled to the far north. Starvation was rampant among them from lack of access to DoorDash. Still, not everyone saw what happened as a total loss for the left.
I think we won by showing we will stand up to Republicans. But haven't you been exiled to Canada? It's great! I love it here!
The last part is just a funny part. And he got eaten by a moose.
כל עוד אני ראש ממשלה
The
לאיראן
video
לא
they made
יהיה.
earlier. Yeah, he's speaking not in English. But he said he just told Trump, hey, you coming with me, buddy? Come on. We're going over here. We're going to attack Iran. He did not ask permission. He simply informed him of our plan. Hey, I was trying to be funny. I know it's getting late, folks. Y'all trying to hang with me. Trump did say, tell him
oil prices have come down so much, and we are not seeing anything at the pump by comparison to what it should be. We should be, in my opinion, at $2.25 right now at the pump. And we're higher than that. And we are doing a big investigation on it, yeah. They're not reducing the prices commensurate with what's happening. Look,
Which oil is way down right now. It's $70 a barrel and dropping. It's dropping like a rock. Yeah. If they do anything, I don't know. It'd be nice to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden gas prices are down $1.20. I think I paid $3.40, $3.44 a gallon. That's what I've been paying, around $3.40 something this week. Paid $3.19 at Sam's, or where I would normally get gas at. It's about $3.40 something. I will play this one though.
the NRA, everybody, they really have been, they've been with me right from the beginning. And Bill asked me, would I support the national right to carry legislation? How do you feel about national right to carry? That's my free poll. You know what that is? That's a free poll. I don't have to pay $300,000 to somebody that doesn't even do polling, you know, to give you phony numbers. See, those are real numbers. National right to carry. Yeah, we're working on it. The NRA, everybody, they really...
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. You know, that overstep state would be a national. How they get that pulled. Man, this is irritating. They got screens showing footage of cities getting blown up. And sadly, and like Lebanon and stuff, hell, a lot of these, they're targeting Christian churches and areas with lots of Christian people. I wonder, you know, it's like the Bolshevik, I can't even say the word, I'm too tired, all over again. Which I saw an interesting video the other day that, I don't know, should I even put this out there? But it was basically, you know, the reason for World War II, one of the reasons for World War II was to cover up the Bolshevik Revolution and all the millions of Christians that got killed. Because it's like 30 million. Yeah, killed. And it's like nobody ever talks about that. Talk about 6 million other people. They don't talk about the 30 million Christians that get killed. It's just a coincidence. That's all. Just a coinkydink. But I'm tired of all that. Let's do some funny videos. I got a few funny videos. I got some feel-good videos. And just a couple like this one here, just silly shit. So I hope y'all enjoy. Stone Cold Steve Austin got a Father's Day present.
Father's Day, so anyway, here's air conditioner I hooked up for him. And then here, what the fuck? Check this out. A bucket of beer on ice with a letter. Dad, to the best dad in the world, happy Father's Day. P.S. We wanted to get you a card, but Mom would not let us take the car into town. Love, Poncho and Macho. God dang it. If I wasn't the toughest son of a bitch in the world, I'd start crying like a baby. These fucking cats, they never cease to amaze me. And they put this in my chair. It's where I sit when I'm with them. Poncho, you little motherfucker, you're the best cat in the world. Oh, look at him. I love it, buddy. I love it. Let's see what we got here. Man, I just got finished riding my buggy today out there in the desert. It was hotter than a motherfucker out there.
Cut out his beer commercial. But yeah. That's funny.
Really, but it,
I am a big pro wrestling fan for the ones that don't know, but this is kind of cool. Scotty Too Hottie. Used to have huge pop, and back in the day, but he actually got to get in the ring with his son, kids. Everybody using CapCut, I guess. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Scotty Too High and his kids doing his iconic dance. I remember when he was hotter than a firecracker, as they say. Everybody was trying to do the worm and shit. I remember I did the worm across the damn dance floor one time. I might have had a few beverages in me. I might have had about a liter of vodka in me. It's a pretty funny story, actually. I might tell that story one time. That was a funny night. Seeing my silly ass do the worm. This poor dude. He makes it. He's on the ground. And yeah. I think a few beverages have been in his system too. All these people from around the world over here, they really loving the American food and American everything. This little kid right here, though, he had me laughing.
It's nice. Who made this? Shan. Where's Shan? In the kitchen. Why? Tell him. Tell him what? This thing is lovely. It's stunning. Keep eating them.
Another it.
It's lovely. It's stunning. Keep eating them.
It's lovely. It's stunning. That's great. This is kind of cool. Oh, I can go back on. I want to show that one video. That's kind of cool. First, I was going, what in the hell is this dude doing? He's just tearing up a good chair. But trust the process. It's actually kind of cool.
Okay, boys, Emerson, come on in. Okay, take this. Okay, take this. Okay, these are books. I'm going to explain to you
Brizzy,
why.
go up by brothers. Babe, what did you make?
So I call this the family chair.
The family chair? That's
The
interesting.
family's chair. You ready? Okay.
What in the world?
Right here. And now, Daddy.
What?
Can read a book. Zoom, zoom, out of the womb. This is the most comfortable I've ever been while reading a book.
In the chat, what's your vote? How long until one of them kids just jump on top of his head? Or just kick him inside the head? But it is kind of cute and cool. Yeah. Oh, I'm probably going to get dinged for this one, but I don't care. It's a funny blooper.
Okay, is everybody here? We're still waiting on Luther. Oh, God damn it, I said I wanted everybody here at 9 o'clock sharp. You can't say that. Why not? Damn it. Did you say something else? Oh, I thought I said damn it. Oh, I thought you said something else. Everybody here? Still waiting on Luther. Oh, fuck. I mean... Everybody here? Fuck no.
Oh, why movies cost so much and TV shows and everything. We got a 32 seconds and got a 10 seconds. Y'all, less than a minute, I agree. I'm riding the boat with y'all. It's a man's duty to protect his family. Remember that. Remember that saying.
Down a back road, got a flag.
I can't turn the music off. I'm sure we're going to get dick for that. A little water moccasin or something. Right, where the kids are playing. Oh, it's just a water snake going. Damn moccasin. That right. What is it? Come on. How far I gotta go back? Right in the middle of that little floaty thing. That's crazy. This one's probably AI. It never did pop up say it's AI, but it's kind of looks AI, but it's still cute.
I said it's bedtime. I said it's bedtime.
Mama cat stopped him up. And let's see. The dogs look. This one's getting a hot dog. Let me put it back at the beginning. He is upset. He wants a hot dog. Only thing is that even their dog is just. What was it? The Miami Marlins had to bring your pup to the park day, and thanks, Indy. I'm about to call tonight too. I'm really am. I appreciate you being here. Much love. I do want to. I did want to show this video. I meant to show this one, but I forgot.
America, it is happening. Do you see it? People who want America, who have travelled to the World Cup, are realising they've been lied to.
We owe America a huge apology because America is nothing like what the media tells us.
I'm gonna get Dean for the song, but that's all right. It's at the end, so y'all be the only ones get to see this.
Everyone is so friendly. Everyone is so accommodating.
I feel like I've been lied to my entire life about America.
Texas is good. Everything is big.
Walmart. I love it. This is so insane.
Look at all the American flags.
Yeah, beer and barbecue. Yeah, that was very different.
We get red, milk, and then airline.
This is probably the best store I ever been.
Cheers. Cheers. The better is in America. Wait, what?
America! 10 out of 10.
I have to say this about the World Cup. America has absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love in Boston they were talking about the Scottish actually drink out of beer. They had to make a mercy beer run because the Scottish actually drink all the damn beer. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all coming back. Oh, it's almost 4 hours in. Yeah, it's time to go to bed. The alarm clock goes off in 6 hours. So I appreciate y'all for being here. I really do. Make sure if you're amazing shows come up again, we got some amazing guests coming up for sure. That ones I've absolutely guaranteed booked right now. I have Ryan Dalton coming on the 8th. He was on, if you want to get a glimpse of what he'll talk about, and which, I'll add some dynamic to ours. He was on the Sean Ryan show a few weeks back, and he did an amazing job. He actually went to Epstein Island and got arrested for being there, trying to look up, investigate. He is a child trafficking investigator, and he is the founder of EpsteinIsn'tDead.org. So you can check out his website. There's it's going to be I think it's going to be an amazing show. Plus, he's a former U.S. State Department diplomatic security special agent. He had a hellacious title. Legitimate badass. I've sparred him before. He's thrown me across the damn room before. I just jumped up and got thrown across the room again. It was awesome. Good times. I had a long-time friend, and then seeing all the stuff he's doing right now, I really want him to come on and be able to interact with y'all. And I know it's going to be a huge, great show. Like I said, I know the content's going to be amazing. So I hope to see y'all there. Sunday, James and myself will be back for Beyond the Possible on Sunday at 7 Central Time. And then, of course, Talking with Conspiracy with, I guess what is it, on the 1st. We will have, I don't know what we'll talk about then. Who knows what's going to happen? And then we'll have 4th of July weekend. Then on the 8th, we'll have Ryan. So, like I said, I appreciate y'all. Much love. And we'll hit this outro, and I won't raid anybody tonight. I'm not going to mess around with raids tonight. I appreciate y'all. And let's get out of here. Let's get to bed.
Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sit down with Big Brother. Don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I sat down with Big Brother and the national ID. Don't want a chip in my wallet, chip in my car. And if I want to travel, it's nobody's business how far. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I said shame on Big Brother, always tracking and tracing me. Don't want a chip in my mother, chip in my wife, a chip in my babies. Stay out of our life. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother. No more slavery. Play it for me, baby. Now, do you want a chip in your forehead, a chip in your arm, always tweaking your brain and causing you harm? Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother in the good old USA. I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. Don't want a spy chip in me. Everybody, I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. It's all about liberty.